Good morning, everyone. It is time for the Dave's Gone By Facebook program of the stream. So we're just getting ready here. Got another minute to go while we get our iTunes going and all our material that we need. Plus my darling and adorable wife, Joyce, will be walking in the door in a moment to help me out as well. But please tell your friends, tell everyone we're here for 3+ hours in Greeley, Colorado, doing Dave's Gone By. We've got a well-known actress, Capathia Jenkins. We'll be talking to Rabbi Saul Solomon. We'll have all the usual crazy stuff that we do. It's going to be fantastic. So please tell everyone, Radio Dave Lefkowitz is the Facebook page. We are live. There's more information at davesgoneby.com. Yeah, we're rolling. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to make sure we're public, which we are. Yeah. I'm going to start our intro music, which goes, as you all know, a little something like this.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. There goes the Daverhood.
And there was much rejoicing.
Didn't your meds kick in yet?
We got David Lefkowitz here. He's a Long Island Hearts guy. He's got his own radio show.
I want you all to really enjoy a wonderful program done by a fine artist.
A glorious thing of unparalleled beauty.
Dave's Gone By. Dave is one of my very favorite broadcasters, so keep on listening to Mr. Dave.
Two flamingos in a fruit fight. Every color of day.
What? This. Well, ew, I don't know where that's been. Yes. Oh, I can actually try that. That feels good. That's very sensual in a bizarre sort of way. Our friend Merkin is here, that we picked up on a garage sale for. We still have the tag on him. Look at it's 10 cents.
He has some leaves stuck in his body somewhere. Where do I get the leaves from?
Oh, well, he was out on a garage sale on a table.
Yeah, that's true.
Amazing enough, no one bought him.
Yes,
until
that I couldn't believe. Yeah,
can you imagine that?
We just lucked out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What's that thread by his ear?
That's maybe it's a cochlear implant.
Oh.
I'm thinking. So anyway, by the way, welcome to Rodney. Rodney's joining us. Hello, Rodney. I certainly hope you get respect.
You're getting a weird.
I know the glow because I'm trying to turn this way so I can talk to you. If we angle it
there.
Oh, that's,
why don't you put both books? You look like you have a light from your head.
I know, a light shining from Buckinghamshire here. I'm not.
You know what you need? You need some powder on your dome.
I'm not gonna put. I can put a hat on. That can sort of work.
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
I can maybe lower this, but that's this way. I want to angle.
It's okay. I'll move back. You move it so you look good. Get out of the way.
Yeah. No, you. I need you here.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's better, yeah.
Oh, and welcome to Cat Ann. Cat Ann always joins us. Welcome to you.
Oh, wait. Who joined us? What's her name?
Cat Ann. Yeah. There she is. And Lawrence, too. Here we go. Here are all the peeps coming through.
In the morning. Winter mornings are harder, except it's more summery here.
Well, we finally got nice weather again. We had a week where it went straight from fall to almost early winter.
We had snow. It was lovely.
And then now it's like 60. Well, it's 40 now, but it'll be 60 in the middle of the day.
Sandals and a denim jacket.
Yeah. We are, by the way, doing the 671st episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebook program of the stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and adorable wife, Joyce. All these wonderful potatoes. Oh, special potato. He's happy to see us. Yeah. Thank you. Well, he's got hearts on his little hat. It's
a sleeping cap.
Oh, a sleeping cap. Oh, I hope we didn't wake him. Oh. Did I breastfeed him his mayo chops earlier?
No, he needs the sleep apnea machine.
He does. He has sleep spudnia.
Sleep apnea.
Apnea. There you go. Well, go back to sleep, potato. And by the way, welcome to Paul as well. for the brand new edition of Dave's Gone By. We have been doing this since October of 2002.
I can't believe that.
We're 16 years in
That's
and
crazy.
going strong.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
But we're still doing it
Yeah.
because I'm crazy.
Crazy.
Got nothing better to do on a Saturday morning. But you know what? I hope you don't either, because we have a great show. We've got our Saturday Segue of songs in the news. We have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, and guess where we're going today?
Eagleton.
No,
ABCD Denver? Are we in
no,
D's?
we haven't even hit that yet.
What are we in C?
We are still in C.
C-O. Colorado Springs?
No.
C-O.
And think of the other sound. Because when you tell somebody it's a C, you think of the initial.
Ow!
What?
Oh, that hurt. You kicked.
What?
You almost kicked my toenail off.
Oh.
What's wrong with you?
I'm sorry.
Give me what, C?
Yeah.
I don't know. What?
Centennial.
Oh, we're not even to the C.
Well, it's not a cut. Yeah, but it's not the
Centennial.
C. So Centennial, Colorado will be today's Colorado Limerick of the Damned, where we do a really filthy.
I like to see you do the boroughs.
The boroughs. I mean, of New York.
Brooklyn and Queens and yeah.
Well, if we end up moving back to New York at some point, then I'll do.
Boroughs.
Oh my God! There was a young woman from Brooklyn.
No, it wouldn't be Brooklyn. It'd be like there was somebody from Red Hook, or it'd be like
Red Hook
Bed-Stuy.
I could do.
Bed-Stuy is hard. Bushwick.
No, Stuy is easy. Lots of things rhymes with I.
Cry.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. There was a young young girl from Bed-Stuy who wanted to change to a guy. She.
Okay, stop. Tell them what's on the show. Tell your
She thought it was hot to cut off her twat, but then, but unfortunately, she did die or something. I mean, I don't know. Come on, in 15 seconds, not too bad.
I thought that was our Fred. It's Paul. I thought
No,
it was
it's Paul.
Fred.
Oh no, Potato lost his hat.
Take him off here.
Here.
You're too rough with them anyway. Come on.
So we will also have story time.
Oh, what's the story?
Did you watch story time last
UPS
night?
man story?
Well, that's our Unit Minuteman information. But notice and behold,
Whoa.
all my friends,
You're just announcing here. Do it because it's an emergency story. You should do it with the urgency of that.
we will have part 2.
Fisting.
Oh, I love this. Of My Sheriff Goes Over Weather, Farm, and Safety, featuring KC the Canine.
That should be on a public, that should be a public service, David. That's a public service about farm safety. And
well, that's that's from the sheriff's office.
But when you read it, that should be part of our public service, yeah.
I agree that we should get grant funding for doing this program.
That would be really, and the kids could read it. They could play it in school, but it'd have to be like a play where one person would play the shepherd, the dog.
Yeah.
And we'd all play the roles, like Dora the Explorer, but with that kid.
Well, the insurance on this would be like $1 million because we'd have to have a ladder next to a grain silo. It's like, don't go up to the silo.
But it could all be pretend. We could get the props people to make fake ones. They could all be made of styrofoam so nobody gets hurt.
That's even more dangerous.
No, but you don't climb it. You just look at it and say,
How do you do the tornado? Because they actually had a tornado
you get a
last
hairdryer. So you take a hairdryer and you put ribbon, and then you blow the hairdryer up and the ribbon swirls.
Plus, you also need the rain, the wet. So have the 9-year-old stand in a bucket of water holding the hairdryer.
No. You get my thing from my olive oil. You get a sprayer. Except you don't use olive oil. Ow!
Wow, you're just all banged up today.
Yeah, but you kicked my toenail off.
Oh no!
You big savage.
Ooh. Anyway, don't even know. So story time, yeah, and we'll have a Saturday Segue. I said we'll go inside Broadway for news of the Rialto. We'll have Greeley Crimes and Old Times. We'll have Potato News. What else? So much cool stuff today. And should I go back? Yeah, let's do. Are you ready to grab me a good word out of this little book?
Did you tell them who the guest was when I was gone? I don't recall.
No, I mentioned the guest there. I'm saving that. So we do a segment also called Dave's Big Dictionary. And what my wife does is puts her finger at random on a word in the dictionary.
The word is temporary, lasting for a time only. Synonyms: transient, ephemeral, momentary, impermanent, temporary.
Temporary. Okay.
It says lasting for a time only.
Huh. I think we can do that.
Like the bliss of your show.
There you go. Oh, like my hair. Yeah, temporary. I can,
Or like the tornado.
Well, yeah.
In your farm book.
In the farm book, they come, they go away.
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of thought you have to put behind that.
Oh, plus, It's a long way from temporary.
Wait, here we
It's
go.
a long way to go. Yeah. Thank you ever so much. Welcome, Wayne. Hello, welcome. So that, all of that on this episode of Dave's Gone By, but even more, most importantly, actually, is our guest in the Daverhood. This is so cool. We have a Broadway actress and singer. Someone who has been, let me get some of her
Mandy
credits.
Patinkin?
It's not Mandy. Our nemesis, the evil one. No, it is not.
Who is it?
It is a lovely woman named Capathia Jenkins.
Ooh.
I knew that. I was just looking at through some other notes there. Now, she is going to be at Birdland this coming week.
Is
Now,
that a jazz club?
yeah, Birdland
Like a
on West
jazz,
44th Street and 8th Avenue in New York with her collaborator,
Who's
a
that?
fellow named Louis Rosen. They've been working together about 15 years.
Play
Yeah,
music and sing, or they write music and sing, or what's
both.
the
Well, she
collaboration?
sings.
Yeah,
She's a pianist and a composer.
Ah.
So Capathia Jenkins and Louis Rosen have collaborated on a couple of albums. A lot of times what they're doing is setting people's poetry or poetic writing to
I
music.
like that.
So they've done that, I think, with Langston Hughes, and they've done it
What's
with a
this
couple.
one then?
This one is on October 25th, 26th, and 27th at Birdland.
Mhm.
They will be doing Phenomenal Woman, the Maya Angelou songs.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That was her big thing. I am Phenomenal Woman, yeah.
Right. So it sounds like it will be a phenomenal show. They're also putting out an album called, the album is called Phenomenal Woman, and it's on Ditone Records to celebrate that release.
Let me
They'll
ask
be doing
you,
a concert at Birdland,
as
yeah.
somebody who teaches English, right? When you take a poem and you make a song out of it,
Yeah.
is there copyright? Or is it inspired by? Did they?
No, I think they take the lyrics and
Do
they.
you have to get approval
Yeah.
from the
The
estate?
estate.
That's what I wondered. Yeah.
Sure. Unless the lyric is in public domain. If you did something by Lord Byron,
Yeah.
Lord, where are you going, Lord Randall,
Well,
my
no,
son?
but that's also because it's too old. It's like, I think copyright expires after.
70
Yeah,
years.
yeah,
They've made it longer and stuff,
Yeah,
but you have to
yeah.
check. So if you were to
Yeah.
do Shakespeare
Yeah.
or Chaucer or somebody like that, then no problem.
Yeah.
But if you were to do Ogden Nash,
That's what I'm asking. Yeah.
no, I know this because I used to work at a literary agency, and I was in charge of having every goddamn day 3 or 4 people would say, we want to use this Ogden Nash lyric in our birthday celebration. We want to put this in our anthology book. And if it was an anthology book, I'd make them pay $10, $15, $20.
Yeah.
If it was just somebody, please, we just want to use this one time, I want to use it in my classroom,
Oh, wow.
or I'm going to ask permission, then it's like, yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
you know.
wow.
But that's what you have to do if somebody
Yeah.
born in the 20th century,
So they
essentially.
probably had to get approval from her estate or her. Or
Oh, sure.
Okay.
And they had to do it, I'm sure, for Langston Hughes and Wilfred Owen when he drops dead, if they did him.
Yeah.
That sort of thing,
Because
yeah.
I was thinking Hamilton, but Hamilton, the topic is old, and also they're changing it. They're not taking anyone's work.
The only thing they did of Hamilton is some guy wrote this book that inspired Lin-Manuel Miranda.
So
you thank him.
But you don't have to. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. Okay.
No, exactly. I mean, the folks who did. Well, no, I would imagine that he would have been still alive when Lerner and Lowe wanted to do My Fair Lady.
Yeah.
They probably got George Bernard Shaw's permission
Whoa.
to do it. I think Shaw lived until 1950.
Yeah.
I could be wrong about that.
That's interesting. I just wanted to know. But I'm glad. If we were in New York, I'd like to see that. I like Maya Angelou.
Oh, okay. Well, it's happening this week, though. It's happening October 25th through the 27th at Birdland on West 44th Street. For more information, you can go to Birdland website or CapathiaJenkins.com. But we'll give you more information here because Capathia Jenkins, who, by the way, has also been on Broadway in the Frank Wildhorn musical The Civil War.
Oh, wow.
She was in the Burt Bacharach, Hal David review The Look of Love. She was in Newsies, which was a big surprise hit for Disney. And she was in the very, very acclaimed musical co-written by Tony Kushner called Caroline or Change. Guess what she played?
An angel.
No.
A devil?
It's not Angels on Earth. It's a totally different thing.
She played a teddy bear.
Cute, but no.
What?
I'll give you a hint.
Potato? No.
No, think of Das Balaton Combo.
She played a washing machine?
She played a washing machine. Yes.
How do you embody a washing machine?
Capathia Jenkins could and did. She played a washing machine in Caroline or Change. And she, of course, has this big number
boys,
as the washing machine, and she was
I think we took our mothers to that place, the one you're saying.
To Birdland?
Yeah.
I don't know if we ever. I've been to Birdland. I don't know if in fact we saw Wing. Not you and I.
Is it a cabaret?
It's more of a jazzy nightclub cabaret thing.
Okay, I can't.
But they have cabaret people in it. We talk about folks who are appearing at Birdland all the time.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm confusing it with the cabaret club.
It's near where Ibis was.
No, we saw. It was a Frank Sinatra tribute. We took the mothers to it.
Might have been Birdland.
It had tables and a stage. It wasn't like a night. It
was in Midtown, right?
Yeah.
I think it might have been Birdland. Yeah. It wasn't Our Sinatra by our friend, what's his name, or my Sinatra?
No, it was just a guy imitating Frank Sinatra.
Yeah. Or there was a trio of people doing Sinatra songs. I remember a cabaret show of that as well.
It was that one.
Anyway. By the way, oh my goodness, welcome to Wayne and Jeffrey and Holly. Speaking of singers, speaking of someone who's been in the music business for so many years, welcome to Holly, watching us live on this Saturday. It's about 20 after 9 Mountain Time. We're coming to you from beautiful Greeley, Colorado, and my office at the University of Northern Colorado, just talking about Capathia Jenkins, who will be our guest in the Daverhood, talking, alas, not to me, but to the one, the only, the Jewish Rabbi Saul Solomon, who will be asking her all about her music, all about the Broadway shows she was in, all about the music she's making involving Maya Angelou and everybody else. So, going to be an amazing, amazing show. How you doing, Bip? What's new?
I'm just sleepy. I was sick, so I'm happy to feel well. It's nice to be happy and well.
Now, you didn't have a migraine. You just had, what was it?
No, it was like, I had allergy. My eyes got really puffy and looked like chopped meat.
Ooh.
I felt very coughy, congested, sinusy.
What's kind of interesting is while you were sleeping, I took the George Foreman grill and held it over your face, and I ate parts of your eyes.
If you did that, it would have helped clear my sinuses. I would have appreciated
That's where the steam would bake.
I kept dreaming about Mickey Rooney's Potato Fantasy.
I dream about that all the time. In-joke, folks. That's all we do here is in-joke. And speaking of singers and actors, Raymond, who was our friend at the Daverhood a couple of weeks ago, Raymond Jaramillo McLeod, he's a friend. He was in the original Rent, of course.
So was I. Raymond, come on, I was in that show.
Well, we were in Lease. It was a very different show.
No, we were in Illegal Sublet. That was our play, Illegal Sublet. That was
which actually is what Rent was. That was the whole point. They were all squatting illegally. Anyway, what else is there? So you were sick, but you're feeling better, thank God.
I'd like to know how many of your listeners are actors who appeared on Law and Order.
Probably Raymond.
Probably Raymond.
Let me see. I'm not sure. Raise your hand or give us a thumbs up. By the way, I got thumbs up from both my aunt and my dad. So yay. Great to see you. I'm glad you're listening.
It's a family affair, Papa.
It's a family affair. And welcome to Jolinda and Reggie. What were you all sleeping? It's 20. You missed the first glorious 20 minutes of the program already.
Everybody's tuning in for your farm book and for the guest singer.
They're tuning in for this.
Tell them the singer's name.
Capathia Jenkins.
Yeah.
Capathia Jenkins, who is capacious in her talent.
Ooh,
so we will be talking to her later.
Mr. Wordsmith. Woo.
Well, thank you. I didn't make any notes today on, I have teasers on all the stuff we'll be doing. We'll go inside Broadway today because we have news about a Broadway show that opened a couple of nights ago, and we have the reviews. I won't be reviewing it, but I'll let you know what the critics thought of Daniel Radcliffe, Cherry Jones in Lifespan of a Fact. Also, we have some Tony Award news for you. And let's see, our Limerick, we've got our guest. Did nothing happen of note this week to us?
I was sick the whole time. I don't really know.
Yeah. And I taught. What?
You got your costume. Tell them.
Yes.
Tell them you didn't bring
it. Yes! Oh, do tell. Because you got it.
You explain.
Joy, now you understand that one of the segments that we will do later in the program is Potato News, where we give information that is of use and important newsy information for our potato friends. We do this all the time. I do have the news announcer Spudward Armuro comes in, and he is a potato essentially, so he wears a potato outfit. But Joyce was so kind; she had gone to Walmart, was it?
Yeah.
The evil Walmart, but let's face it, it's got everything. And how did you wind up in the costume aisle in the first place?
We were meeting in the central location of Walmart,
mm-hmm.
and right in the middle they had a round rack with all these costumes. And of course I looked because I'm insane.
Yeah.
And then I found your present.
And my present was...
Well, first I got a unicorn costume for Potato.
You did. That's at home.
Yes.
But it's a little unicorn horn for one of our potatoes that we actually don't bring to the office. One is dressed as an owl,
one is dressed as a unicorn.
Yeah. And you're proud of this. See, this is the thing. You're always like, you tell me, try and be normal. We're meeting important people.
We have to pass. Let's just pass as normal.
These are people from the university. These are people who control, well, nobody controls your tenure anymore. You control your tenure. But it's sort of like, please be normal. I want people to think that you're actually a normal human being, right? And so I try. Yes. I make a joke here and there, but I try and be completely straight-laced and fairly front stage normal.
Since I've known you, you've never been front stage normal.
Really?
No.
Really?
Yeah, never.
Okay. But you're the one who ends up volunteering all the information. He collects
I disclose it so that people think it's you, not me. So I want them to know the origin of the insanity.
But understand that when someone comes into our house, there's 2 potatoes there, not 400.
Yeah.
And yet you say, well, he collects hundreds of potatoes.
Because in case they've ever seen your Facebook or anything, who knows? People scan you before they meet you when you've gone to Facebook.
Yeah, I imagine they do. But and they say, don't take away his ketchup. He'll cry. This is your thing. You'll say that I'll start crying if somebody doesn't give me my ketchup.
No, you told the person we went to dog sit that she has to give ketchup to 400 potatoes, and she looked at, she was like, huh?
But you had already explained about the potatoes.
Yeah, but that's not fair. So explain your costume.
So Joyce goes to Walmart, is poking around for other things, and notices and this is the story of my life. It's not the Mr. Potato Head costume from Toy Story, the one that was played, I think, by Don Rickles in the films. But she notices, oh my God, it's Potato from the Toy Story movie.
And it's like on the QVC, for anyone who was bored and watches shopping channels. It's like one of those very soft, warm, cuddly, kind of snuggly outfits.
It is the material of a Snuggie, essentially. But the design, instead of being Elmo, or instead of being, what are the other ones that they always do, unicorn, or no, it is Mrs. Potato Head.
Yes.
Mrs. Potato Head. And it's a large.
Have a male potato here.
I've got a regular potato costume that Spudward Armuro will don.
So this is his wife.
But
that's Mrs. Spudward Armuro.
It could, but she has many more features. She's got eyes.
She has a whole extra bag of stuff.
You didn't know what those pink things were. Those were ears.
The placement's a little weird with the ears still.
Yeah. And what's really adorable is she's got a sunflower, or is it a sunflower or a daisy?
It's a daisy.
It's a daisy on the top of the head. I didn't bring it today. I will try and bring it next time we're on. The Mrs. Potato Head potato. Do you have it on your phone, the pictures we took?
Oh, yes.
Is that what you're looking for?
I'm going to go, let me
Yeah. Joyce is going to show me dressed as Mrs. Potato Head.
Something that once you see, you just don't forget. So.
No, nor should you.
Is there any, you want some of the movement ones? And let's see if I can pull up the movement ones.
Okay. And no pictures where I've actually had a movement, because that's really disgusting.
It'll take me a second. You talk to the people.
I will talk to the people. I'm going to let you know that we couldn't do this program without the fine folks at Hewlett Minuteman Press, the copy kings of Broadway in Hewlett, Long Island. Look at all the things they do. Minuteman has been helping sponsor this show since our very first episode all those years ago. The great people, the Toron family, has owned and operated Hewlett Minuteman Press right in the heart of Hewlett, Long Island since the mid-1970s. Back to Dave's Gone By. Apologies every once in a while. We get some issues here in terms of this hasn't happened in months.
No, it happened last weekend to us in Gunter.
Yeah, oh, really?
They have to be on Enterprise. They're doing something.
They're doing something weird here. So please tell your friends, please tell your family, especially tell your enemies that Dave's Gone By. And it's perfect timing. That was the first half hour of the show. We're on to the 9:30 portion of this program, this Facebookio program of the stream.
You could do it.
And let me see if I got a couple of these of me in the full glorious outfit. Here it is. Yeah. Invite.
Keep going.
Here. Well, just so you know, this is what we were talking about just moments ago in terms of a potato costume for the ages, Mrs. Potato Head. Huh? Is that beautiful or what? Now, let me just invite some people and bring us back to this Facebookio program of the stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and adorable wife, Joyce, and all of you, all our folks watching, reminding you it is our 671st episode of the show. We are calling it Full Capathity.
Oh,
Get it? Capathity, for our new friend of the Daverhood, Capathia Jenkins, who will be talking to Rabbi Sol Solomon later in the program. Welcome, Pookie!
Who's Pookie?
Pookie is with us. I don't know.
Pookie. What is Pookie short for, Pookie?
Pooksilla, maybe, or
Pookie.
Pookasilla?
Pookie.
I don't know. It's obviously a nick. I assume it's a nickname.
I like it. Pookie.
Pookie Adams.
Pookie.
Well, welcome to. Oh, I'm sorry. I mentioned the last
You
name.
can see it though. They can see it.
I think people can see.
Pookie.
Well,
Who's
anyway.
gonna make a Pookie Dookie?
Nah, don't make fun of the name of our guest. Don't do that.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it too, actually. So, anything else happened this week? We're talking about sick. We're talking about the potato costume. It's been a quiet week in Dave Wobegon, as it were.
You're gonna buy some duck tonight. Trying to get.
I
Some
hope
duck
so.
for
That'd
Susie.
be nice. You know what? I think it's time to get on to Greeley Crimes and Old Times. Now, this is a segment that we love to do because our local newspaper, the Greeley Tribune. Do I have it? No. Oh, here we go. The Greeley Trib. Well, this is just the sports section. They have. Well, this is the one with the.
Welcome, John. Yeah.
Oh, John. He joins us almost every week.
Hey,
yeah.
John. How are you?
So, John, if you ever want to do an original cast recording album of Rabbi Sol Solomon's Shalom Dammit, just give me a ring. But here we go.
Wait.
Greeley Crimes of All Times has to do with phone calls that come into our local police department, the funniest, weirdest, most ridiculous ones, mixed in with stories that were in the newspapers in Greeley, Colorado 100 years ago. So we mix them all up. They're both taken from our local newspaper here, the Greeley Tribune, and we call that Greeley Crimes and Old Times. Come on. Greeley Crimes and Old Times, ladies and gentlemen. Because, this is a Greeley show. I was thinking about this. I was looking at, there was a local radio station that we have in town called KUNC that I've been wanting to get on for 10 years, and I still can't get on, but they're like public radio and Public Radio International. And there was this big, in Wikipedia, they were talking or mentioning how when UNC, our university, sold our station for money, our transmitter, to make like $3 million a few years ago, another really bright idea by the higher-ups here, Denver wanted to buy it. And then the people of Greeley and the local broadcaster said, no, we need, Denver's got a dozen radio stations. They don't need another one up here in northern Colorado. We want one of our own. Let's have a Greeley and Evans and Fort Collinsy related state. And they won, right? So there is a public radio station right in town. But the problem is 90% of their programming is the same stuff you're going to hear on public radio in Minnesota or Los Angeles or Sacramento.
How does that fit with Greeley Crimes and Old Times?
Because we...
you're keeping it
channel,
on the local.
Because I do a Broadway segment. That's out of New York. I was doing that when we were doing the show in New York. And StoryTime and all the other stuff could potentially be. Our Saturday Segues are national in focus and in scope.
Yes.
But only here, really, do you get Greeley Crimes and Old Times. So I'm kind of proud of that. It makes me feel like, you know what? We're doing Greeley content. That hopefully, even if you're listening in New York, or New Jersey, or Milan, because I know we do have a whole chunk of listeners in Milan.
Yes.
You're going to enjoy these as well. Okay. Are you ready for this week's Greeley Crimes and Old Times?
I have all my noisemakers in place, yes.
Okay, and welcome, by the way, to Pookie and John and Stacy and Lana. And please, all the folks who were watching before, tune back in. And Reggie, who gave us a thumbs up. Thank you, Reggie.
Hey, Reg.
Here we go.
Okay.
A Greeley resident called Dispatch to report her friend's cat.
Uh-oh. Wait.
Her friend's cat had been run over by a car. But when the caller went to get it,
Yeah.
the cat was gone. The caller was adamant that animal control officers must have responded and, quote, stolen the cat.
What?
Yep.
Can I tell you something? Okay,
Yeah.
Cats are smart. They probably saw the car, saw the wheels, were underneath it, cuddled up. The car left. The cat got up and went off.
But she felt that
And let me tell you something. My experience here, when there was a pit bull near my yoga teacher's place, and I told the pit bull to sit, and he sat, and the animal control people ran toward it, and it ran away. And they're not going to show up right away, the animal control. I sat that pit bull down. He was walking with me, and I said to him, sit. And he sat, and then I see like this cartoon people, someone with a net and somebody else running toward him. I don't think our animal control people took the cat.
Yeah, I don't think they stole a run over.
I do not believe that was the case.
Yeah. Well, caller was adamant that they took the cat.
Yeah.
Well, turns out cat was in her friend's closet the whole time. These are the phone calls that come into our local police
Yeah,
department.
but sometimes the squirrels are big. Or they might look like a cat.
It could have been a squirrel, but there should have been a squirrel carcass.
Or there would have been some like entrails, right?
Yeah, of course.
I could have read the entrails.
Now, if there was a truck from a local Korean restaurant around.
Oh, David, don't say that. I'll vomit. Please don't.
Okay.
Please don't.
Just kidding.
Don't go there.
Just
Too soon,
kidding.
too soon.
Hey, welcome to my old high school mate, David, and also to Lewis. Welcome to Lewis, by the way.
Lewis.
Police responded to a middle school for a report of a student making sexual gestures to his teacher
Oh my God.
in middle school.
Yeah.
Well, no, it turns out Brett Kavanaugh Jr. will get 3 weeks
Wow.
detention. So there you go.
I mean, maybe it was the cat from the closet. The cat's like, "Meow."
And you know what? At that age, a kid really doesn't even. He knows it's naughty, but he has no real idea.
Middle school? Come on, David.
What? Yeah, in middle school, you could,
I didn't even have middle school. We just had grammar school, primary school, and then we had college.
I mean, you had high school, you had
High
junior
school,
high.
but
yeah.
we didn't have junior high.
I had junior high.
We
I
just
did.
went from primary school to
I went kindergarten. I skipped nursery, thank God. I was
love
kindergarten,
nursery.
elementary. Oh, I
love nursery school.
I hated children around me.
Miss Mary used to sing. We used to play songs. Some kids would eat clay. I loved the water table. I got to play. We had scavenger hunts. One kid tried to always, escape the gerbil. Like we had a gerbil and a hamster.
What?
He
What?
always wanted to free them, and the kids would free them out of the cage,
Oh, yeah.
and then they would lose them all the time. Yeah,
And amazing if Richard Gere would come and find it.
yeah, that's
so
true.
it was-
Yeah. He
No,
was always
the only thing I remember,
Yeah.
I remember nap time, which was all right. I kind of like that. And I remember there were blue cots that we would lie down on.
Aw.
Now, I don't remember if that was first grade or
Is
kindergarten.
that when
but
they
I
gave
think-
you the baby Xanax?
I needed it. I was undiagnosed ADHD for sure.
I'm sure we're both hyperactive as kids. Come on.
And I do remember finger painting.
Oh, I thought I
And I
didn't.
thought I hated being
Yeah.
messy, but I also liked the creativity of it. It was real catch-22
They
for
made
me.
us wear a parent's shirt backward, like as a smock. I remember that.
Oh, we had smocks.
Oh wow.
We had a wealthy
wow.
private
You were loaded.
Hebrew school. We were just, I just remember all the colors and very strong yellow.
Of course. From you, of course.
Yeah.
Yellow and brown, probably. Right?
Consider I would piss myself all the way up through third grade. Yes.
That was your cry for help, honey.
Maybe not third, but second grade for sure. Like first, second, I'd sit at my desk. I wouldn't want to use the regular bathroom. And then I would figure, who's going to see? It's going to be in my underpants. It'll collect, and no problem, right? And then it will occur to me that like this pool would be happening by my feet, and then I would wonder why anybody would care.
Because it's disgusting. It's not hygienic.
It's just pee. We see it from our dog 5 times a day. And our old dog, who used to do it everywhere. But what's the big deal? Let me be.
Why are you
and
so
mop it up
mean
later.
about the dogs? Don't always cast aspersion.
I'm not casting aspersion. He was casting his suspicion all over the floor, the carpet.
You stain more laundry, and you make more stains than either one of them.
Well, I kind of do, yeah. My underpants, forget
The
it.
stain stick has your middle initial in it.
My underpants go through World War D. I don't even know what that means. I think I do know.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to David and Lewis, and Kagan is back and Raymond is back.
Yay,
Thanks so much for tuning back in.
Who's back?
Kat and And Raymond. So glad you tuned in, Raymond, because we have a fellow Broadway person, Capathia Jenkins, is going to be on the show.
Can
But
we call him Ray?
I assume he would allow us to. Ray, may we call you Ray?
Or Raymond. I call him Raymond.
You can call him Ray, or you can call him Jay, or you can call him Mac. Oh, you remember Ray J?
Keep going.
You don't remember that commercial?
Keep going.
Bob Dylan even referenced it in
Keep
Serve
going.
Somebody. Okay,
Keep
fine,
going.
fine. All right. W.R. Patterson and 3 other Greeley men just returned from an unsuccessful deer hunting trip in the mountains.
Why would they talk about that?
Well...
Wait, hold on.
You're getting good with
Where's
these
the
songs.
other one? Where's the other one? We had a little... I don't know. There was another one. Shoot.
Oh.
Wait, I got one for
Well,
you.
yeah. Oh, yeah. They were out looking for venison, but oh dear.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, they...
Did they
Patterson
shoot
had
each
a
other?
terrible day.
Oh, no.
He fell in the river twice.
We don't have water. Let's see. No,
No, I don't think we have a water noise.
we don't.
Here, wait, hold on.
Oh, no, that's going to make me pee.
Oh, okay. But see, if you were to pee right now, I would let you do it,
No,
and then after the show is over, we're cleaning up.
Talk about...
Not like, oh, let's call David's mom and have him pick him up and get him new pants. You know? This is what they did.
Talk about the...
So he had this bad day on the hunt for an unsuccessful
Yeah,
deer hunting trip.
yeah,
Fell in the river twice.
yeah,
He then finally did kill their only deer.
yeah.
But a game warden said the deer was so mutilated they couldn't bring it out of the mountains.
Whoa.
It's kind of like that Blunderbuss Yosemite Sam thing.
Because my dad used to hunt. They used to hunt. They would get a deer, but you just string it upside down. They drain the blood. They butcher it. Yeah,
They would do that in the woods?
You do it near the house because
Oh.
if you do it in the woods, you're going to have a lot of friends come and eat it.
Ooh.
Like, let's say there's a bear.
Oh, yeah.
Let's say there's other,
So you shoot the deer,
Yeah.
you make sure it's dead, then you just put it on the hood of the or the
Or you carry it.
top
and,
of the car.
bring-
Yeah.
And usually most places, like even I'm sure Greeley they have butchers that know how to butcher deer.
Well, yeah. And by the way, you're a vegetarian.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm all for
Mhm.
killing a deer if you're going to
Well,
eat
they
it.
would eat it. And Dad had a friend called Les who was like a cook or chef,
Yeah,
and he would make like venison. The problem with game meats is if you cook them, they don't have fat.
they're very
So if you
stringy
cook
and they
them like
overcook
normal
quickly.
meat, like
Yeah.
regular meat with fat,
Yeah.
they get really tough. So he used to make like stew,
Oh,
like
yeah.
you could crock pot, but you have to know, you have to adjust. It's like when you make a bison hamburger, you don't cook it the same way you cook a cow hamburger.
Well, you cook it shorter,
Yes.
and you probably add more egg and you add more
Yes,
stuff to it. But
more like it.
yeah, no, it's been a long time since I've had game
They have
meat. But
bison at Sprouts.
true, and elk. Sometimes they make,
Mhm.
but it's usually burgers. Usually when
Because
they
it's
do
cheaper, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The nice thing, well, certainly if you have a male deer, it's cheaper because it's just $1. Thank you so much. By the way, welcome to Raymond and Lynn and Cindy. Oh my gosh, an actress. Cindy, welcome. We're doing Greeley Crimes and Old Times, by the way, whether you like it or not.
You know your word too.
yeah.
You could use it about your show. The first part of your show was
Temporary. That'll be our Dave's Big Dictionary word. Temporary. Here we go. Oh boy. We have, you can either use
No,
this.
please use this. Don't use that.
Oh, well, you can use it.
I can't.
Okay.
It hurts my ears.
We have an eighth alert.
Oh.
Ding-a-ling-a-ling. We have an alert. See, this is a place. I told you this was Greeley
It's the
focused.
nexus. It's the nexus. It's like, if think about 8 and 8 is infinity and infinity.
Yeah.
It's the nexus.
So 8th Street and 8th Avenue in Greeley is where all the crazy stuff happens. This is where it goes down from the lunatic people. So, I don't know why this is funny. Police
That's true.
responded to a local beef plant
Oh God.
just north of 8th Avenue. Actually, that would be way downtown. I don't know why this is an 8th and 8th alert, but
Maybe it's another one.
yeah. Well, a local beef plant north of 8th Avenue for a report of an intoxicated man who walked into the cattle gate. This thing, he sort of walked in amongst
That
the
would
cows.
hurt.
or just bashed.
I hope it's not electric. It would be
Oh, I know
what do you
that.
call electrified.
Yeah. I don't know.
You have to be pretty drunk to walk into a cattle gate. I mean,
Well, yeah.
wouldn't you hear the mooing?
This is the weird thing. I don't know if they do this intentionally or it was just that kind of week.
Mm-hmm.
But for the Greeley Tribune's column this week of Cop Log is what they call it, virtually every single thing involves someone who was intoxicated.
Oh, maybe it's probably it's they're trying to do themes.
Or it was 2 weeks ago. It was cold, so people are drinking more and they're staying in more.
But it wasn't
I don't know.
Give me the next one. Go ahead.
Here's the next one. Police responded. Well, this one is not that, but police responded to 7th Street for an argument between a boyfriend and girlfriend. That's a strange argument right there. Now, the girlfriend told police the fight started because their dog got its cycle early. And
wait.
Yeah.
Were they trying to breed it?
Well, no, it was in the car. So the dog I've never had a female dog.
If you don't fix them, they bleed. They have
I've had a few bitches, let me tell you.
They have menstruation, so they would bleed, but it's not a lot.
Well, it would be enough if you have a nice new car to...
Yeah,
you think?
But you could clean it, no.
What, blood on a car seat of any kind? Not easy. Not, blood is blood, unless you believe stain stick ads. Yeah.
Oh, God.
So they got into an argument over their dog having its menses in their Mercedes or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah. Ooh. All schools, theaters, restaurants, pool halls, and other public places in Greeley have been closed due to the epidemic sweeping through town. The Spanish flu has hit, as well as
maybe that's what I had. I could have had the Spanish flu.
You could. Well, were you speaking Spanish?
Sí.
Oh.
Yo tengo el flu de España.
No es bueno tener influenza.
Sí.
Oh. Y
siento muy mal.
¿Tengas la diarrea?
No.
¿La puca?
Cansada.
¿La vomitada? No. Estaba enferme. I can't conjugate for
you can't
to save my life. No. That's why we have no children, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, Spanish flu hit as well as grip and pneumonia.
Oh my God.
All public meetings have been canceled. Colorado University even canceled the rest of their football games this season because of the flu epidemic. So how we do that for our football team?
They canceled themselves.
Yeah, they did. They did this. Well, there's a football game here at UNC today at noon, and they're giving free tickets to the faculty.
Nice.
And I think 5 faculty are A, because everybody's pissed off about the budget stuff. B, because our football team is terrible. They're 0-7. C, because just this past week, well, the week before, they were playing in Portland, and they lost. But, when the mice are away, the cats will play, or whatever the phrase is, and they missed a curfew. So 12 of our football players are not playing this game. They're sitting out the game. They have to, because they're suspended from the team. And I have a couple of football players in my class, and they didn't show up for class. I wonder if they're suspended.
I would think, because, we had... Remember our friend who gave a story of it was a loud house they used to drink and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
And they actually stole university property.
Oh, the
so
tables,
if you're suspended, so if I get suspended, you're suspended. Like when I was at Fordham, I had a student who was suspended and he couldn't come on campus. They banned him from campus.
Oh, well.
Yeah. So
wow.
Yeah, I remember that. So I don't know.
What did he do that was so bad that he couldn't even stay in the dorm?
He punched somebody so hard that the school ring left a mark on their face, like the impression of his ring.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a good kid, but he had some issues.
Yeah, obviously.
But and they straightened it out. But yeah. So.
Wow. That's actually got to be easier than getting a tattoo, though. If you figure you get a tattoo, you sit for hours, you get a design.
Think about that tattoo show we watched. That's awful.
So imagine if all you needed to do for a tattoo was you put ink on somebody's ring.
No, it's not permanent, though. It just makes an indent. Think of that tattoo thing, that show we saw is awful.
You watch sometimes the most ungodly programming, and I blame MTV. for creating these shows. 16 and pregnant,
Yeah.
12 and nearly pregnant.
I don't know.
You
But the
know.
tattoo one is really disturbing.
7 and horny.
No, but it upsets me the way they do that to people. I mean, what release do you have to sign when somebody?
Well, here's the deal.
tattoos
Do
you?
you want to explain the concept of this program?
It's like revenge tattooing.
So they get two people who know each other, who
Yes.
apparently love each other, either a couple or best friends,
or siblings.
and they want to warn each other about their lifestyles.
Yes.
So, you drink too much. Well, you screw around too much. So what do they do?
Yeah.
They go on this show. I'm assuming they're paid, or at least they get a free tattoo.
They must have to sign a waiver, and
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm sure in the waiver it probably says if you don't like it, maybe they also give them free lasering. I would assume.
But you can't. Does lasering really get
I don't
off
know.
a tattoo?
I think it's very time consuming, and I think it's very
Painful,
time consuming, and I think you must scar.
but you probably see still under.
Or,
Like if in the old days, some Army, Navy person would like mother with a little baby
Yeah,
anchor, and it's you get
But
that off.
I
But
think also what they do is they probably tattoo over it, so maybe the artist
Oh.
will back in and fix it.
yeah, because and the point of this show is they give each other the most awful
Mhm.
tattoos. They're embarrassing. One woman tattooed her boyfriend with like a devil.
No, that was her brother.
Oh, sorry. Even better. Even her is this big red demon baby
Yeah.
with the man's actual penis as its nose,
Yeah.
which they couldn't really show on
No.
camera. But there was like when he wore a thing, there was a baby with the horns coming up, and his dick is the nose coming through and he's got to live with this
but
forever.
Also, the problem was it was bright red, so it's
Yeah.
like it's.
And he gave her and someone had a tattoo of vomiting to say, "Hey, stop drinking." And then there was a transvestite guy. What was his?
He wasn't a transvestite. I
Hello.
would say he was a drag queen.
Oh, okay, fine. But what was his? He had a tattoo.
Oh,
of,
him in prison. They had him behind
yeah,
bars.
like
yeah.
and these people. I mean, I wouldn't get a tattoo. Period. Anyway, I love skin. I think skin is the most beautiful possible thing that you could ever
No,
see.
you think that's steak.
Except on Betty White, maybe. At
You
this
think
point.
that's steak.
Yeah, the steak is true.
Ribs is probably what you love. Yeah.
Oh, ribs. But so if you're going to get a tattoo, and something that is going to be on you till the day you die and beyond, or something that will cause you extreme cost pain to get off and won't fully come off.
Somebody said, "Are they real? Like, are they just doing it with you know?"
Who said that?
I don't know. I someone on the show said, "Is it real?" So maybe they're not.
That would be all right.
Yeah.
If I were doing a show like that and it was more about each other teaching each other a lesson, I would do henna.
Yeah.
Give each other henna tattoos.
Yeah.
And then you say, "Oh, I know why you gave me this. This is I gotta wear this for a week."
Just
But then
do it with permanent marker and it'll wear off.
yeah, does permanent marker eventually wear off?
Yeah.
Because skin
yeah.
epithelial
Replaces itself,
cells. Yeah.
Go back to Greeley.
Yeah, well, how do we get onto that? The ring and the thing and the
Who knows?
what was it? Oh, the school's being canceled and the football team. That,
Of course,
there you
yeah,
go.
that's a direct.
These are the synapses connecting on Dave's Gone By, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing Greeley Crimes at All Times, pre-Halloween sort of edition here. Oh, yeah, you don't like the honky horn. Hobo alert! Hobo alert! Oh my goodness!
You have that written about it here about his chicken.
That's chicken. That's a chicken alert. That's different. Do I have a hobo alert? I don't think
You
so.
have something like, "Oh, he killed his first hobo."
Yes, I do.
So you killed your first hobo.
Maybe the greatest line ever spoken by anybody anywhere. We have a hobo alert, ladies and gentlemen, because we do this, especially it was inspired by the old times part of Greeley Crimes at Old Times, because back in the day, almost every item had to do with either homeless people, which they called bums and hobos back then, or chickens running loose, and chicken farmers. But we do have a modern day hobo alert.
Modern day. Woohoo.
Police responded to a grocery store parking lot
Okay.
on 10th Street.
10? Wait.
Yeah, 10th Street. So all the way down, 7 blocks past where Chipotle was, going downtown.
I don't know where the grocery store is there. Okay.
Yeah, I don't have the avenue, but
Okay.
parking lot on 10th Street for an intoxicated homeless man
Yeah. Oh, wait.
And I am going up to people and asking if he can sleep with them in their cars.
Oh, that's nice.
Would you like a homeless man?
Well, but it's polite. Like, pardon me, sir. May I sleep with you in your car? That's nice.
Not may I get into your car and sleep there, but if you're there, can we cuddle?
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's very sweet.
I'll share my can of beans with you.
Especially in the cold.
I know.
You might have got some takers.
No, probably not.
No.
Yeah, maybe they can put them on the rumble seat or something. There's still like rumble seats. I doubt that.
They now have a Subaru that has the third row seats. A new Subaru type they made.
Like a van?
No, it's like it looks like a Forester mixed with a Jeep and
Yeah.
has a third row of seats.
So it could fit 9 people comfortably, or 8 or 9 people comfortably.
I just saw that.
For a large, for Orthodox Jewish families and Mormons.
Nice,
it's,
right?
yeah.
No, or people who go in the mountains and stuff and need more space.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
Okay.
I forget the name.
Now let's sometimes on Greeley Crimes and Old Times, even though we are Greeley centric, we're Greeley focused. That's kind of the point. We go elsewhere. We look for a story outside the Greeley, Colorado area, just to broaden our horizons a bit. So this is our story of the day from elsewhere. Dateline, Sacramento, California. Police in California are investigating a report that a high school student made a batch of homemade cookies.
Oh, nice.
And mixed in.
Oh no.
Let's take a wild guess.
Well, X-Lax.
No.
Gas X?
No.
Cannabis?
You would think, but no.
What?
No.
What?
No.
What?
She made these brownies, which she shared, cookies that she shared with her classmates, which had mixed in them the cremated ashes of a grandparent.
Oh, Lord. But you can't eat a human. That's disgusting.
What is ash?
Why would you do that?
I don't know why.
Why did she do it?
Well, 2 students are thought to have been involved in the baking of the sandy textured biscuits, which were sampled by at least 9 youngsters at the Da Vinci Charter Academy just west of Sacramento, California. All those charter schools, yeah. Nobody suffered any ill effects because cremated human remains are not poisonous. Although a police lieutenant told the Sacramento Bee, quote, there could be some emotional issues experienced. One classmate, Andy Knox, told TV station KCRA, quote, I didn't believe her until she pulled out the urn.
Oh, gosh.
Somebody got caught with her hand in the grandma jar.
Why would she do it? I'd like to know the motivation of that child.
Well, the girl told her friends there's a special ingredient in the cookie. I was kind of horrified. Officers said they would let the school handle the issue since it probably was not an actual crime. I don't know how
isn't it improper disposal of human remains?
I don't know. The thing that you can't sell an organ or human stuff on eBay or Amazon.
But I think probably because the body's burned at such a high temperature, the ash is just like chalk. I don't know. I don't know what's in it. It's probably organic compound, but I don't know.
I mean, you can make and perfectly legally sell jewelry with in fact, people would do that. People would, if we hadn't made a paw print dish and gotten our dog stuff in an urn, we might have made.
I wouldn't have. I don't like that concept though. For me, it's not.
Would you wear meat?
No.
What do you mean no?
You're in my mind. I don't need you to wear your ashes.
Come on. Like, I mean, you used to be Catholic. I'm an Ash Wednesday. You can put my ashes on your head.
I'm not. When you're dead, you're gone. When I'm dead, I'm gone. No.
No?
No.
What about you? If I like...
listen, if you die before me, I'll put your ashes in a potato.
What do you mean in a potato?
Like a potato will be an urn. Like in a hat or something.
That'd be cute.
Yeah.
No, but like if you go, God forbid, but like if I go to New Orleans, can I put like your ashes around my nipples?
No, that's
and get beads?
I don't want that.
Really?
I definitely don't want that.
Okay.
Move on. Read
another one. Like instead of Kool-Aid, Ash Aid.
Read another one. I'm getting.
When children get like, oh yeah,
David.
You're not thinking this riff. Yeah, this riff is not working for you, huh?
Nobody is either. You got nothing.
All right.
You got crickets over there, baby.
Fair enough. I could go for an ass shake right after this. And if your ass is shaking, it's because you're watching Dave's Gone By on this Facebook site, I guess you could say. Radio Dave Lefkowitz is the place.
Podcasting.
It's 10 o'clock. It's our Facebook program of the stream and a podcast as well. Remember that you can watch old Dave's Gone By episodes on our website, davesgoneby.com. Remember, it's Dave like my name, davesgoneby.com. You can also drop me an email, davesgoneby@aol.com, and message me here either during the show or all week long. People haven't been sending messages today. I've gotten a few thumbs up, but not a lot of messages. So please say hi.
Stan is the writer.
Yeah, and there's no Stan. Lynn is here. Cindy, Michaela. Welcome, Michaela. Frank and Warhol. Hey, Warhol. Karen and Michael and all those other people. And the folks who were watching the first half hour where, for some reason, we had a problem with our interwebs.
Week stream.
Yeah. So let's do one or two more times, and it's potato time, as you know. Oh.
I'll need your keys to get my stuff.
Yeah. We have an awe alert.
Oh.
So this is where I ask Joyce and I ask you, watching at home or at work, to go, aw, which you will be prompted to do because the story will make you want to go, aw. Ready? Here we go. What? Stop with the owl. Weld County dispatchers were butt dialed by a couple of intoxicated men.
I've done that. I'm ashamed now. Okay.
Well, it's not, but it's not even your butt. Your phone has a life of its own. It dials me. It dials your friend Aditi. It dials Tony. It dials everybody. You butt dial more than people who crank call and do spam dialing. It's amazing. Just turn your phone. I don't know what you can do, or I don't know. How do you stop it?
Don't you chastise
I'm not
me.
I don't know what to do about it.
If it wasn't up to me, you would never have even a smartphone. You'd be there flipping.
I'm just saying, how do you stop it?
I have to just keep my screen lock on.
Oh, is that the deal?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, but that's the thing. Your phone, the way you keep it, every 12 seconds you have to put the password back in. So how does it call everybody?
I don't know how it does it. I don't know.
Anyway, Weld County dispatchers were butt dialed by a couple of intoxicated men. The men were crying and talking about how they wanted their mothers. Oh, told you this was an awe alert.
I like that.
Yeah. Isn't that sweet? That's a sweet little one.
Mm-hmm.
And then, this is the day for it. And I need this one. Could you hold Mrs. Bachman?
But you have it.
Oh, I do. So it's chicken alert. Chicken alert. We're gonna play. Hold on, we're gonna play the song to let people know there is a chicken alert. Here it is.
There ain't nobody here but us chickens. There ain't nobody here at all. So quiet yourself. Stop that fuss. There ain't nobody here but us. And kindly point that gun your way. And have a loving day. Hey, boss man, what you say?
Chicken alert, ladies and gentlemen. We have, which simply means something. That's really all it actually means. Oh, welcome back, Reggie, and to Laith. That's a new one. Laith and Michael and Karen. Oh, so many cool people joining us on the 10 o'clock hour. So here we have a chicken alert. There has been a large amount of damaged wheat this year, classified as unfit for human consumption.
Wow.
Can something be done about that?
I don't know.
However, the federal government is expected to announce that the damaged wheat can be fed to chickens. Which will solve many of the farmers' problems.
Yeah.
See? So, I'm sorry, Mrs. Bachbagak. So the stuff that isn't good enough for humans to eat, Mrs. Bachbagak gets to eat. One day we overcome. We'll make you eat the pellets, asshole. Okay. Mrs.
Bachbagak's not like that.
Well, we're telling her that she's going to eat unfit for consumption wheat.
No, but it's for human consumption.
Well, yeah.
Chickens like it. Chickens eat their own doo-doo, so who are they to pick?
Do they really?
Yeah, they eat their own doo-doos.
Oh, my. Okay. Trying to think of a joke about that, but all I can do is poo-poo it. Ah, yes.
Funny
We're
pants.
having a bowel of laughs, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Let's do one more. Greeley crime and or. Do you want a crime or an old time?
You pick it.
Okay.
You're in
I will.
charge. You're in charge.
Oh, I picked the thing here. Okay. A railroad man. They say they call the railroad man. A railroad man from Salida who had a temporary mental aberration
Whoa.
was found wandering the Greeley streets, pretending he was operating his train.
Oh, that's so cute. I like that.
Yeah.
Choo choo. Everyone aboard. Yeah. Maybe he was practicing.
Could have been.
Yeah.
He was kept overnight at the jail, but then he ran away. He was barefoot and only partially clad.
Oh, Lord.
Sheriff's deputies are searching for him.
Yeah.
Actually, they're renting an imaginary blimp to go and find him.
Wow.
Yeah.
They should just tell him, that there's like a conductor or somebody else waiting for him, like a baggage car who would come into town.
Yeah. Kind of a shame when someone like that goes off the rails. Yes, indeed. Oh.
I'll have to get ready.
We're doing Dave's Gone By. We'll have a Saturday segue of songs in the news. We've got Capathia Jenkins talking to Rabbi Sal Solomon, a Colorado Limerick of the Damned. Our Dave's Big Dictionary word is going to be called temporary. But first, it's Spudward Armoro time. No holes. Oh, claustrophobiums. Where are we? Here comes my head.
Okay. No, that's your head. That's your head.
That's my head hole.
Put your head.
Hold on. I need my hole.
There you go.
I guess I could do without this. Where are my arms? Wait.
Oh, watch where you're flailing.
Okay. I need an arm.
Give me your keys, though. That's not your arm.
That's what she said. Here we go. Hold on. Trying to make this work properly.
Here.
But I'm still.
Here.
This is not. There we go. Oh,
okay.
There you go. Thank you. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, one of the things we like to do in honor of all our fine potato friends here in the Daverhood and to let them know what's going on in the world, because we do Greeley crimes at all times, and in our Saturday segue we talk about current events. But what about potatoes? What is the potato news in the world at large? What's going on in their corner of the world, in their tubified neck of the woods, if you will? So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado or a don't, it's time for the weekly edition of Potato News. You say potato, I say potato. Let's call the whole thing Potato News. Good morning. This is Spudward Armoro with the Potato News for today, October 20th, 2018. We begin with health news. Dateline, Des Moines, Iowa. The Hy-Vee Food Company has voluntarily recalled 6 of its meat and potato products for fear of salmonella and listeria contamination. No one has gotten sick, but be aware. Among the recalled items are the Hy-Vee fire-roasted tomato, spinach, mozzarella, twice-baked potato. Next time, guys, bake it 3 times. In happy news, Dateline, Klamath Falls, Oregon. As reported by the Herald and News there, this weekend marks the 81st annual Klamath Basin Potato Festival. All week long, folding tables at the local civic center were being lined up with googly-eyed painted potatoes, empty burlap sacks, and flower arrangements. A festival of arts, crafts, food, and photography. The Potato Fest brings thousands of visitors to Klamath Basin. This morning saw a parade, and this afternoon a barbecue. It's a harvest celebration that started in 1936 and missed only 3 years since then because of World War II. Festival planner Greg Matthews said, quote, "It's just something you look forward to every year." And he loves watching the parade roll past with the Potato Queen, farmers, and local potato enthusiasts in tow. It's really small-town Americana, Matthews added. It'll get a lump in your throat. And elsewhere. Catch-up History Minute! It's time for our Ketchup History Minute, ladies and gentlemen. BusinessInsider.com reminds us that although we think of ketchup as a thick red sauce, it sure was different when it started. That was in the 17th century in Southeast Asia. They made a thin soy sauce out of fermented fish, and they call that ketchup, a Chinese word that translates to brine of pickled fish. Don't look at me, folks. I just read them. Anyway, when the British were trying to colonize Indonesia, they fell in love with ketchup. Who wouldn't? But when they brought the idea back to London, one problem. No soybeans over there. What did they have instead? Mushrooms. They also tried fish and then beans. Basically, you had a dozen spicy sauces of all kinds, all called variations of ketchup. The first Western ketchup recipe goes back to 1727, and other recipes at the time included everything from anchovies to white wine, ginger, nutmeg, lemon peel, and horseradish. But then, in 1812, came Warshmore. A cook named James Meese added the all-important tomato. And a few years later, H.J. Heinz, hallowed be thy name, perfected the recipe just when America was discovering hot dogs and, forgive us, Lord, French fries. So we give our best to the folks in Klamath Basin enjoying their potato day. Oh, wish we were there. Time for the local weather, and you couldn't ask for better. Sunny all weekend, temperatures throughout the week in the mid to upper 60s, and lows not even reaching freezing. In other words, break out the mayo chup. This is beach weather. This has been the Potato News with me, Spudward R. Murrow. Good night and good growth. Yes, inside Broadway, we will be going in just a moment. We'll also have Capathia Jenkins talking to Rabbi Saul Solomon, so you're not going to want to miss that. You're also not going to want to miss our weekly segment, Colorado Limericks of the Damned, where we have a little poem about Centennial, Colorado. We'll also have Dave's Big Dictionary, where the word of the day will be temporary, and a Saturday Segue, and even, oh yes, Part 2, the final thrilling installment of our book, My Sheriff Goes Over Weather and Farm Safety, featuring Casey the Canine. Don't want to miss any of this. But ladies and gentlemen, yes, as I mentioned, I'm a big theater kind of guy. You know, I've written plays, I've acted, I've directed, I've been a theater critic for a bunch of years, a theater journalist. So if it has to do with theater, on some level, I've probably done it. And that is why we're going to do Inside Broadway in just a moment to talk about the Rialto. I'll get him. But love you, sweetie. Thank you so much. Time for kissing of the wife.
I love you, baby.
Love you too, sweetie. See you later. Keep me posted.
You're going to have to pick me up at 7.
Okay, fine. Where? Well, don't tell me where. Tell me where later.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. No problem. Yeah, just keep me posted on what you're up to. That's my darling and adorable wife. Do you want to come in and just give a little wave to the camera so they can see your pretty face? And
I dropped my sunglasses too.
Okay, hold
So
on.
I think that's what hit the no.
Is there?
No.
Just kind of look for some. No, well, the potato fell of its own volition.
Okay.
Sorry, there's potato.
Oh, I have it here. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But is potato okay?
Oh,
Give him this.
I heard my tuber.
Show him something shiny. Look at
Oh, ooh, pretty.
What does it say?
It's ketchup colored too.
It says eggs.
Yes, it does. Take eggs. All right. You know, if that's a yolk, it's not funny. All white, all white. Yeah.
Well, you're on today, huh?
Yeah, I'm just a shell of my former self.
No, you're not.
You should hear my record albumin. Oh!
I think you're sunny side up.
Yeah, I feel scrambled though.
Oh.
Oh.
Ow.
Yeah, one day I'll fry. Anyway, welcome to Michael and Leith and Reggie and Jay and Jeffrey and Lynn and Tom, all these fine, fine people tuning into the Daverhood for all the stuff that we're doing. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm obviously a theatrical person myself, but now we're going to get theatrical with Inside Broadway. Inside Broadway, a look at theater on and off Broadway and beyond. Brought to you by Total Theater and Performing Arts Insider. Curtain going up. Well, yes, it is 10:15 Mountain Time, 12:15 Eastern, if you're back where this show used to be, which was in Long Island and in New York. And so used to see tons of theater. I'm hoping to see some theater in a few days, actually, when I go back to New York, and I'll report on what I see back to you all. But we do this segment called Inside Broadway every week, just because I think theater is important, just because you can hear about all the new movies opening up and the new iteration of Halloween, et cetera, and so forth, and the space movie. You hear all about that. You know every move that Taylor Swift or Kanye West makes or Drake makes. But when it comes to something as important culturally and historically as theater, it doesn't filter out as much. So I'm going to let you know some theater stuff, and I do it every week inside Broadway. For example, oh boy, there was Tony Award news this week. The 73rd annual Tony Awards will happen, on Sunday, June 9th. It is traditionally, I guess these days, the second Sunday in June, and it will happen once again at Radio City Music Hall. I'm sorry, just get that. There we go. Had a little bit of schmutz on the lens there. Radio City Music Hall, 73rd Annual Tony Awards, Sunday, June 9th. That's now official. It will, as ever, and thank goodness, be broadcast on CBS TV, all 3 live hours of it. I've also mentioned the Tony cutoff date, which is going to be Thursday, April 30th. What that means is any show that wants to be considered for a Tony Award this year has to open on or before April 30th. I think I got the dates. That might be April 25th, and I think they nominate, the cutoff date is April 25th. The nominations will be announced on April 30th. Anyway, the Tonys are presented by both the Broadway League and the American Theater Wing, which I've forgotten this. The chairman of the American Theater Wing is playwright David Henry Wong, who wrote M. Butterfly and Chinglish and some other stuff. So that is the news on the Tony Awards that came out this week. Well, there was a Broadway show that will probably be considered for a couple of Tony Awards. It opened this past Thursday, October 18th, at Studio 54. It's a play by 3 different people, Jeremy Carrican, David Morrell, and Gordon Farrell, adapting an essay by John DeGaga and Jim Fingal. Good Lord. But the essay was called What Happens There? And they've turned this into a theater piece, a 3-person theater piece. And check out the 3 people who are in this Broadway show. Cherry Jones, Bobby Cannavale, and Daniel Radcliffe. And it's all about a journalist and a fact checker at a newspaper. And there's a story that's written, and it's generally a true story. But there are certain aspects of it that are either fudged or embellished. So how true is the truth? How important is the whole truth as opposed to the greater truth of the story? That is asked in this essay, and it's now asked in this show called The Lifespan of a Fact. The Lifespan of a Fact. It was inspired, by the way, by a true story of a writer who was sent to cover the suicide of a 16-year-old boy. So Harper's was going to publish it, then they rejected it over issues with some factual details. It was worked over. Then another magazine published it, and there were still some issues with the details, but the writer of it ended up writing a book about the whole process that this piece went through, from being fact-checked and being somewhat true and not true and what part is true. Now they've turned it into a play. It's world premiering on Broadway. That almost never happens anymore. They didn't try this out regionally. They said, hey, we've got stars. We know this will work. We're going to play it on Broadway. And it opened on Thursday at Studio 54. It's staged by Lee Silverman. She's the director, and she was Tony nominated for staging the musical Violet when that came to Broadway. Of course, Daniel Radcliffe, we know he was in Harry Potter. He was Harry Potter. And Cherry Jones, what does she have, 37 Tonys at this point? She won one for The Heiress and for Doubt, of course. So some pretty high-level names in Lifespan of a Fact. All those names aside, all that stuff aside, how did this show do with the critics? Well, Greg Evans for Deadline.com, not entirely convinced. He said, how can you transfigure this years-long intellectual adventure into a 90-minute stage drama? That is a puzzle that the playwrights have not solved. And he says that the show comes across, frankly, as a not particularly complicated account of a suicide. So kind of a thumbs down from Greg Evans. However, Marilyn Stasio, writing for Variety, said she loved the actors, especially was surprised at how funny Daniel Radcliffe can be. And she said the debate at the heart of the play transcends comedy and demands serious attention, which is, to me, that's what theater is all about. You go, you see people grapple with an issue, and then you come out of the theater and you start grappling with the issue. Anyway, Robert Hoffler of The Wrap, he's more on the side of Greg Evans about the show. And he says, quote, beyond the nonsense that the lifespan of a fact makes of journalism, there's the little dramatic problem, he's being sarcastic here, that none of the three characters grows or develops in the course of the 90 minutes. And the actors are typecast, which makes it even more blah. He would have found it more interesting if Daniel Radcliffe played the Bobby Cannavale role, etc. Newsday, however, Barbara Schuler, it's interesting that two women really liked the show, and two men had strong reservations. I don't know what that means. But writing for Newsday, Barbara Schuler said that Leigh Silverman and her impeccable cast create an engaging drama, timely and entertaining. It's a discourse on the nature of what is correct and what is truth. Joe Domanowitz, our friend, and he's writing for the New York Post now. Now, Joe, along with dozens of other writers, were shit-canned by the New York Daily News when they stripped all their entertainment stuff. They stripped everything and just, to save money, to save themselves, and fired a bunch of people. And I think it's great that Joe is now getting published in the New York Post. He gave Lifespan of a Fact only 2.5 stars. He said, the production zips along and the actors shine. The verbal volleys can be fun, though some of the action seems contrived. Even so, having read his entire review, I don't know why he gave it only 2.5 stars. It seems a lot closer to a 3-star review if you read his entire piece in the New York Post. Anyway, writing for the Wall Street Journal, the notoriously prickly Terry Teachout, he's a fan. He says, quote, whatever happened to the smart, well-wrought stage comedies of yesteryear? They're not dead yet. For most of its length, this admirably compact play is rib-bustingly funny farce in which things go from very bad to far worse in nothing flat. He also praises Daniel Radcliffe making choices with his career because, after Harry Potter, Radcliffe could just sit on his butt for the rest of his life and still pay for his college, his grandkids' college tuition. But no, he's choosing to do theater. He was in Equus a couple of years ago. He is choosing to do interesting, challenging roles. So, Terry Teachout of the Wall Street Journal is praising him for that. He says all the actors are fine in the show, and he feels, and this makes a lot of sense, he puts forward the proposition that Lifespan of a Fact will be the most popular show in regional houses since Venus and Fur, the David Ives play, probably because it's lively, it's interesting, and it's only 3 actors in it, so that makes it a lot easier to produce than a bigger show. Anyway, those are the thoughts on Lifespan of a Fact. So I've got to say the reviews were mixed to positive, all sort of in the middle, well, not in the middle of the road. Nobody really slamming the play as horrible, but got a couple of really good reviews too. Go see for yourself. It's playing at Studio 54 in a limited run on Broadway. Well, yes, we do Broadway on Dave's Gone By, and we do it courtesy of the folks at Total Theater. Total Theater puts out a free website called totaltheater.com of reviews and articles about theater in New York and all over the world. If you want to read reviews, just go right to the Criticopia section. There's thousands, literally more than 5,000 reviews on this website. And if you just want to read about the shows that are still running, just click on What's New. There's a button right there. What's New? And there will be hyperlinks to all the shows on Broadway, shows off Broadway, regional theater, and you can read those reviews. Plus, the archive is enormous. And if you want to see the archive, well, you can just skim or scan, and we even have a new link that you can click that lists every single review on totaltheater.com. From, they're grouped by Broadway, off and off Broadway, regional theater, international theater. So check it out. It's all at totaltheater.com for free. Now, something that you have to pay for, but is absolutely worth it, it is the magazine and journal Performing Arts Insider, the Bible of Broadway since 1944. And look, here's even on the cover, Lifespan of a Fact. Also, the Waverly Gallery, that's going to be opening in a week or two. High Noon, opening off Broadway. Performing Arts Insider, this is the Bible because it's the magazine that people in the entertainment industry turn to know what's happening on every stage of New York. So, on this page, you have a list of all the shows playing on Broadway and the ones that will be opening on Broadway in the weeks and months ahead. On this page, these are the theaters. Every single Broadway theater. How many seats do they have? Are they Jujamson or Niederlander or Schubert, right? What's playing in them or what will be opening there soon? A guide to all the press agents, the folks who handle the shows. These are the people that you contact if you want to contact the writers, the directors, the actors, the designers. They're the press agents. You've also got Broadway, day by day. This is where we start getting to the meat of the magazine, the heart of the magazine, where every show, these are the ones already playing. These are the ones when they start previews, open and close, the theaters they're in, the press agents that are handling them day by day, chronologically. And guess what? And you can't find this anywhere else. A chronological listing of off and off Broadway shows in the same exact fashion. Is that the whole magazine? It could be, and it'd still be worth it. But no, there's more. Because you flip a few more pages, and then you get to the big kahuna. This is the comprehensive guide to every single show playing on Broadway. All the names, all the contact information, the producers, the theater that it's in, the opening and closing dates, and the press agents handling, the stage managers, the agents, the casting directors, all of it for every single show on Broadway, whether it's playing now, whether it will be opening this coming in 2019, that's listed too. And then we do it for off and off Broadway as well. No other magazine does what Performing Arts Insider does 21 times a year. So if you want to subscribe, and find out more information, go to performingartsinsider.com. performingartsinsider.com. If you just want to spring for the monthly edition instead of 21 times a year, you can do that as well. If you want to check out a copy, all you have to do if you live in New York or work there is go to Theater Circle or the Drama Bookshop right in Midtown Manhattan. They have single issues, or you can, of course, pay for and send away for a single issue if you're not sure you want to subscribe yet. But either way, go to performingartsinsider.com and figure out why the people who subscribe renew year after year. It is the only place they get what they need about Broadway, off and off all the stages of New York in Performing Arts Insider. Well, thanks to Total Theater and thanks to Performing Arts Insider for sponsoring this segment, Inside Broadway, with Broadway news and information on Dave's Gone By. Well, isn't there a song in the South Park special about Christmas in Hell? If you want to talk about Christmas in Hell, a show that was announced this week, Reuben and Clay's first annual Christmas Carol Family Fun Pageant Spectacular Reunion Show. They do have a sense of humor, I'll give them that. Reuben Studdard and Clay Aiken. Now, these were two folks who were on, I think, the first or second edition of American Idol. Reuben Studdard won, just beating out Clay Aiken, who was the runners-up. They've remained friends all these years hence. And they have put together a Christmas Carol Family Fun Pageant Spectacular Reunion Show that will be running at Broadway's Imperial Theater December 11th through the end of December. It's holiday music, comedy sketches featuring those two. Clay Aiken said in a statement, here's his quote, "There are really only two things that could get me back on stage after taking a break for only 5 years." Is one of them? Oh, no, but my buddy, Reuben, and Christmas. It's been 15 years since he beat the Young American Idol, and it's taken an entire decade and a half for me to lick my wounds, among other things. But the holidays are about togetherness, so now that he is older and I am wiser, I can think of no better way to celebrate 15 years of friendship than spending this holiday season together on Broadway. I will repeat, Reuben and Clay's first annual Christmas Carol Family Fun Pageant Spectacular Reunion Show. Basically, there's a theater that's open. The Imperial will have Ain't Too Proud, the Temptation show, opening in the spring. It's got a couple of weeks open, and coming into it, Reuben Studdard and Clay Aiken. I'll be in Colorado. I won't get to see it. I know. Anyway, this is speaking of someone who truly belongs on Broadway. Not that those two guys don't. I'm being a little cruel, but someone who absolutely did Broadway quite a lot of service. The late great Thomas Meehan. He is going to be celebrated on Monday, November 5th. At 2:00 in the afternoon. This is an open celebration. Anybody can attend. It is celebrating the life of this fine librettist, the guy who writes the books for Broadway musicals. And this will be at the St. James Theater. Thomas Meehan died back in August of 2017. He is the only Broadway writer in history to have 3 shows reach 2,000 plus performances. Those shows, Annie, The Producers, and Hairspray. Not too shabby. The event, this memorial celebration of his life and work, will be hosted by Martin Charnin, our friend of the Daverhood, and the guests include Charles Strauss, who co-wrote Annie, Andrea McCardle, who was Annie, Mel Brooks, who co-wrote, of course, The Producers, Susan Stroman, who directed and choreographed that show, also Maury Yeston, Aarons and Flaherty. It is open to the public. It's happening November 5th at 2:00. Now, I don't know if it's not going to be a variety show. I don't think there's going to be performances or anything like that. Just speeches and memories of people who worked with Thomas Meehan, happening on November 5th. And finally, in the Daverhood on Inside Broadway, we have another show that's going to be opening this coming week in a Broadway theater. It'll be the Bernard Jacobs Theater, opening on Sunday. Tomorrow. It's an Irish play, or play about the Irish and British conflict, called The Ferryman by Jez Butterworth. Now, he wrote Jerusalem, which was, I didn't like the show, but it was a big show for Mark Rylance a couple of years ago. He also wrote an off-Broadway show called Mojo. So this is The Ferryman. It's all about a stranger visiting a farmhouse during harvest time, but he brings with him a lot of baggage of the Troubles. It's got an Irish cast in it, so I think they brought them all over from where it was playing in England at the Royal Court Theatre. In fact, it ran until May at the Gielgud Theatre in London. So, and Sam Mendes, who staged The Blue Room, he is directing The Ferryman. It's his return to Broadway as well. It's a 3-hour show. It's epic in scope. The reviews in London were absolutely sensational about its play because it really gets in deep with all these characters. You really feel like you're living this experience with them, even though there is a troubling and violent aspect to all of what's going on and what they're talking about. It's The Ferryman is opening tomorrow night on Broadway at the Bernard Jacobs Theater. Now, it is not a musical. I can't play a song from it, but to close this Inside Broadway segment on Dave's Gone By, I guess I can play something that is kind of related to it. And then we'll have Capathia Jenkins in the Daverhood talking to us. So here we go. Do you remember this song from the early days of MTV? Oh, I'm sure you do. Right. If I play too much of this, Facebook's going to kick me off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for some more of this song to play through. I made a note to myself of to actually when to start playing this tune. It's by Chris de Burgh, by the way. But I've got to wait until it gets to the chorus. And then you can actually understand why I'm playing this one. Oh, for goodness sakes, just get to it. All right, already. Thank you. That would work so well if they just started with a damn chorus. Anyway, it is 10:35 in the morning, Mountain Time, here in Greeley, Colorado. You're watching the Dave's Gone By Facebookio program of the stream. We've got a Saturday segue of songs in the news coming up. We've also got Dave's Big Dictionary about the word temporary. We have more of Storytime with My Sheriff and Farm Safety. Oh, yes, we do. And a Colorado Limerick of the Damned for Centennial. But before all that, so happy and so proud and excited to have another songstress and actress, because last week we had Stevie Holland with us in the Daverhood talking about her show about Mrs. Cole Porter. Now we've got someone who's going to be at Birdland this coming week, Thursday through Saturday. She's at Birdland pushing and singing her new album, Phenomenal Woman, the Maya Angelou songs, a collaboration with Louis Rosen. It's being released by Ditone Records this week, but she'll be at Birdland singing the songs from the album. She is Capathia Jenkins. So before we bring her into the Daverhood to talk to Rabbi Saul Solomon, why don't we hear a little bit of her?
You were gone like a fly lighting on that wall with a spider in the corner. You were gone. You were gone like last week's paycheck for this week's bills. You were gone.
Hi, this is Capathia Jenkins. I am performing at the Birdland Theater October 25th, 26th, 27th with Louis Rosen. We have a new CD, Phenomenal Woman, the Maya Angelou songs. And I am talking with Rabbi Saul Solomon on Days Gone By. Oy vey.
Oh, shalom, my friends. This is your old pal, your old buddy, Rabbi Saul Solomon, founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. And as you know, I tend to operate at maximum capacity. But today, I am at maximum capacity because with us in the neighborhood is an actress and a singer. Her name is Capathia Jenkins. She has been on Broadway. You saw her in the Civil War, the Frank Wildhorn show. She was in The Look of Love singing Burt Bacharach and Hal David songs. She was also in the very acclaimed Caroline or Change. She was in Newsies as well. She's a Drama Desk nominee for an off-Broadway show that she did. Ben Brantley, chief critic or co-chief critic of the New York Times, called her a Dea Ex Machina. She will be appearing with the Pittsburgh Symphony and Seattle Symphony later this fall. But this coming week, you in New York, you lucky people, can go see her at Birdland with Louis Rosen. They're doing songs from their new album called Phenomenal Woman, the Maya Angelou songs. She is a phenomenal woman indeed, and she's with us on the telephone. Welcome, Capathia Jenkins. Shalom.
Hello, how are you, Rabbi Saul?
Oh, please, if you saw the condition of my prostate, you wouldn't ask. But how are you? That's more important.
I am doing great, thank you. Happy to be here with you.
It's so good to talk to you. So, first of all, Mazel Tov on the new album that you are just releasing this month. It's all about someone that we wouldn't think of in musical terms, just more poetic terms, Maya Angelou. So tell us about Phenomenal Woman.
Yes, I'm very, very excited. We're releasing this new record on October 26th, and it is the poetry of Maya set to music beautifully by Louis Rosen. So it's some of her most famous poems, Phenomenal Woman being one of them. Cage Bird is on there. When I Think About Myself is on there. I mean, it really is an exciting project.
Well, what made... Was it his idea? Was it your idea? Who got the spark of like, there's a record in this stuff?
Well, I have to admit it was Louis' idea, Louis Rosen's idea. He said he had actually, before he met me, he had been thinking about it for over a decade, setting her music. And then he met me and found a muse. But this is actually a third album of a trilogy. He also set the poetry of Langston Hughes and Nikki Giovanni. So this sort of completes our trilogy of the Black Moon. So it's exciting.
It's exciting. I wish your telephone was better. What are you, talking through a tin can in a Lincoln Tunnel? What kind of telephone are you on over there?
I'm on a smartphone, an Apple iPhone.
Really? Well, it's not that smart, and that Apple is starting to rock a little bit. So please be very clear and careful with your verbiage, because we want to hear every single word as we do when you sing. Now, you were talking about this Louis Rosen guy you make it sound like you just met, but you've been doing tons of projects together, no?
Yes, we have. We've been working together almost 15 years now. The first thing we met at the studio, he needed a girl to sing on his Langston Hughes project.
Oh.
And so at that studio recording session, he just said to me casually, I think I'd like to write for you, and I thought, I'm flattered. That's great. People say that all the time. You never hear from him again. And then a few weeks later, he called and said, I started sketching this stuff. Why don't you come over and take a listen? And it was actually Phenomenal Woman. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited because Maya is my favorite poet. So it was like this perfect marriage. It's just been great. And so we've worked on a few different albums, a few different recordings, and this is finally coming to fruition because now we have the rights to record. So excited.
Yeah. Sorry? Hello?
Yes, hello.
Oh, there you are.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Can you not hear me?
I lost you for a moment. The Apple lost its core for a moment, but you're back.
Sorry about that.
No, but I was just going to ask, so that's a fascinating thing. So the first project you were going to do 15 years ago was Maya Angelou, and then all the other albums and things that you've done were in between these, getting to this.
That's right.
Oh, Mazel Tov. This is...
Thank you.
I know it sounds silly, but it's wonderful that this project has blossomed into something bigger than both of you could have thought in terms of a working friendship together. Now, at first I didn't know. I had to do some research on you. Now, you are colleagues, and you are married, but you're not married to each other.
That is correct.
Just checking. And another very important question that I must know. Louis Rosen, Jewish?
Yes.
Yes! Oh, hooray. But you are not, right?
That's right. I am not Jewish.
Are you a religious person? Because I am a rabbi. I have to ask these questions. What do you believe? Or what? Do you go to church or anything like that?
I am Christian. That's how I grew up, in the Baptist church in Brooklyn, New York. And so, yes, I am Christian and spiritual and all that. I do not go to church.
But you have a certain sense of spirituality. And more importantly, you're from Brooklyn. Tell us some memories of Brooklyn when you were growing up.
Oh gosh, I loved growing up in Brooklyn, and I actually still live in Brooklyn. But you know, my fondest days are, you know, a little girl playing double dutch outside, jumping, roping, and playing games, playing tag with my friends. I loved growing up in Brooklyn. I loved it, and I still love Brooklyn very, very much.
But now, do you live in Manhattan, or are you coastal or something like that? What do you do? Because you have to travel a lot.
I travel a ton, but I still live in Brooklyn. I live in Ditmas Park.
Ditmas, mit Mazel. So has Brooklyn changed for the better or the worse, or both? Since you know you grew up there.
You know, I think it's a mixed bag. It certainly has changed quite a bit. There's certain neighborhoods that, you know, you sort of wouldn't go in after dark, and those are all sort of gentrified and built up and all that, and that's all great. But I also think that it's, you know, like everywhere else in the city, it's priced itself out, and people have had to move away, and so it's sort of a mixed bag, you know?
That absolutely makes a lot of sense. So let's roll it back. Talking about growing up and being in Brooklyn, Little Capathia. First, I love your name. Where did that name? Is there a derivation for Capathia?
You know, I'll tell you what. When my mom was pregnant with me, my auntie met a little girl with that name, and they decided to name me that. And then, as I was growing up, people would say, "What does it mean? What does it mean?" So the closest thing I could find was Carpathia, that has the R in there. So there's the Carpathian Mountains.
Right.
There's the ship that picked up the survivors from the Titanic was the Carpathia. So yeah, I think it's just a name that my mom and my auntie found for me. And you know, people always say to me, "Is it a made up name? Is it a showbiz name?" And it's not. It's my God-given name.
No, it's a lovely name. And speaking of God, have you ever been to a Seder?
I have not.
You have never? Oh my God! Well, Louis Rosen should take you to one. But at the Seder, on Passover, one of the things that they do is they dip lettuce or some green leaves into salt water, and that's called karpas. I'm just wondering, maybe somewhere, maybe it was a derivation of Carpathia. Probably not.
Maybe. I did hear that Carpathia was the Greek goddess of water too. I did hear that.
Oh, wow. That's very, very cool. And what's also cool is, at what point did you open your mouth and beautiful sound came out when you sang?
Well, listen, I've been singing, about as long as I could talk. So, you know, I was with this little girl with a hairbrush in the bathroom singing. And so my mom would say, you know, shut up all that noise and go to bed. But I think around third grade, that's when my music teacher said to my mom, I think this little girl really has some talent. You should nurture it. And so my mom did. So I began studying how to sing, classically trained, and all the while still at church, singing in the choir, Baptist church. And so, yeah, I must have been about 8 or 9 when I, you know, started to get solos in the school chorus, things like that. But I just started to dream from that time, just dreaming that I could sing, you know, on a world stage, be on Broadway, do all those things. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned in another interview that there were things that you learned from the rigor of even being in a children's choir or a high school choir that you still keep in mind today when you travel and sing. What are a couple of those specific actual things that you learned that you still keep in mind as a performer now?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the biggest things is that I work very, very hard. I do my homework. I make sure all my I's are dotted and my T's are crossed. I know all my lyrics, all my melodies, everything, so that when I step on stage, I'm not thinking about any of that. And that's something I learned very early on. We had to make sure our music was done before we could have sort of playtime, you know. Another thing is, you know, I'm usually very quiet before I go out to sing. After I've warmed up and done my sound check and all of that, I'm pretty quiet until I hit the stage. That was something I learned working with John Motley, the Oil City High School Chorus, and then also Walter Turnbull at the Girls Choir of Harlem. You know, we had to be quiet, and sometimes we would have a bus ride. We couldn't necessarily fall asleep and let your voice drop, but we had to, you know, be quiet before we hit the stage. So those are still things that I do, and I drink a lot of water. I just drink a lot of water and just, you know, take care of my instrument. I'm still this little girl in training, you know, when it comes to working. It's a very serious thing.
Now, speaking of working, we talked about some of the Broadway shows you were in. The first one was by our friend of the Daverhood, Frank Wildhorn. He has been on this program. So any memories of making your Broadway debut in the Civil War?
Absolutely. Very, very vivid memories.
Ooh.
I don't think you ever forget your debut. But I remember, you know, going in for my audition, for my final callback, and every girl that went in before me was sort of belting the song out, and I was like, oh my gosh, should I belt it? Because I thought I would just, you know, kind of lead with the melody and the lyric. And so I got in that room, and everybody was there, Frank Wildhorn and Jerry Jackson, just everybody. And I just took a breath, and I was like, I'm going to trust my instincts. And I went for it, and I remember Frank Wildhorn saying to me right afterwards, that was delicious.
My goodness.
And I reminded him of that recently. He said, oh my gosh. I said, yes, that's what you said. And I have been trusting my instincts ever since. So, I mean, I learned a lot working with him. His melodies are so beautiful, and really, like, these kind of melodies that are just kind of haunting, and they weave together so beautifully. He's one of my favorite composers of all time. Love Frank Wildhorn.
Well, now speaking of composers, another Broadway show that you did was a review of Bacharach David songs called The Look of Love. So do you have any great memories or what songs we did in that show and preparing for them?
Yeah, I mean, you know, first of all, I love all of that music, for Bacharach and Hal David. But one of my memories is very early on in that process, you know, Burt Bacharach and Hal David, they were around. And I remember one day, Burt, you know, he sat down at the piano and wanted to give us the blues and the pocket of Walk On By. And that was one of my songs. And so he's playing, and I'm standing there, you know, with this little girl from Brooklyn. You know, I'm singing, and Burt Bacharach is on piano. It's like I'm out of my body. You know what I mean? But
oh yeah,
I loved it. That was an experience that I'll never forget.
Have you had others like that where you met iconographic people and either sang with them or for them or just met them backstage?
Yes, I have. You know, I've been doing this for a while, so I've met some great people. But I will tell you, one of the experience I had working with Martin Short was absolutely amazing. Amazing. I had always admired him and loved him, and then to be in a room working with him was the most extraordinary thing, because he was so sort of just kind of down to earth and really accessible and really, really funny. It's just really, really funny, but really generous. When I worked with him, he gave me the 11 o'clock number of the show, and I just love working with him. And to this day, you know, if he's in town and we're all together, I love that cast. I love Mark Shaman and Scott Whitman, and if we're all together, you know, we get together for dinners and things like that, and it's just fun. It's just fun. But he is a real star, and just, you know, I learned so much from him of how to be graceful and how to navigate any kind of celebrity in a room and walk in and just sort of disarm everyone and just a normal person. I just admire him so much.
Oh, it's so lovely to hear that, because our producer of this program saw the Martin Short show, Fame Becomes Me, and had a wonderful time. He wished that it lasted longer and run more, but it was a very, very fun show. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very, very fun.
But the funny story that you tell, and you did an interview with the San Francisco Classical Voice, which I've never heard of until preparation for this. But it's rather interesting that there is this cliche where in a modern musical, they'll get somewhere in the middle of the second act, a black woman will come out and do a gospel-ish number. Not real gospel, not Mahalia Jackson, but they'll write a number for her. It'll be very rousing. And, of course, it's going to be a black woman doing it. And you're like, I've had enough of this. And just when you thought of that, what happened?
Mark Sherman and Scott Whitman called me and said, we're writing the show with Martin Short, and we wrote this for you. We know you had a sense of humor. We're going to send you the demo. Let us know what you think. And I'll tell you, as soon as it got to that line, if you want to hit learn what Sondheim doesn't know and let a big black lady stop the show, I was like, I'm in, because it was doing the thing I was complaining about. Was talking about that while doing that very thing. So I was like, I have to do this. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Now, here's the deal. Now, a lot of the shows that we've been talking about, with a lot of people liked them. They got some good reviews, some not so good reviews, but they were not hits. Did you feel like, because we're going to get to a couple of the hits that you've been in, like when The Look of Love opened, that got no love from the critics. How did you go out there night after night after opening and realize, oh boy, people are not going to be expecting much because the critics slammed us?
Listen, I think it's one of the great superpowers that we have, people in the theater. It's like you really have to compartmentalize, and you have to go out there, like it's the first time, every time, because the people in the audience, they don't know, you know what I mean? So you just have to, it really is a superpower, I think, because you can get no love in the papers, you can get no love in the community, but you have to do a show every night. It is your job. You can't go out there. Certainly you don't want to go out on stage and apologize for being there. So you have to take the stage and do your thing, and shine and do what you do until the day it closes, So I think of it as a superpower.
Now, by the way, we're talking with Capathia Jenkins, who has superpower singing and acting abilities. You can hear them and see them at Birdland on West 44th Street and 8th Avenue. That is happening this week, Thursday through Saturday, October 25th through the 27th, because she'll be there with Louis Rosen to release their album Phenomenal Woman, the Maya Angelou songs, which, by the way,
Yay!
What's the matter? What?
I said, yay.
Oh, yay, yes, indeed, yay, from Ditone Records. Also, you can find out more about that from CapathiaJenkins.com, is for all things Capathiesque, you can find out there. But you told us a little bit about, singing for Burt Bacharach. You told us about when you auditioned for the Civil War. How was the audition for Caroline or Change?
Oh, that was fun. My agent called and said, you're going in to audition for the radio. And I said, what? And he was like, they just want to hear like a 60s kind of, soulful R&B kind of thing. So I went in, I sang, Till You Come Back to Me, a Aretha Franklin tune, God rest her soul, Aretha Franklin tune for George C. Wolfe and Janine Tesori and Tony Kushner. And my agent called and said, Mazel Tov booked the role of the washing machine, not the radio, the washing machine. I said, what? No idea what was happening. And so when I got in there, the first thing we did was down at the Public Theater, and they had just written the first act, and I fell in love, not with just the piece, but the entire process, and being in a room with Janine and Tony Kushner and George Wolfe. It was just like, sort of sitting at the feet of these great creative teams. of us, I was writing it with your voices in my head. And I was like, how amazing is that? So great. So great. So I'm just so honored and I moved down at the Public Theater before we moved to Broadway. I think we all knew it was something special. It was, we were getting extended after extension after extension, and then we got the news that we were moving uptown. So it was great. And then after we ran on Broadway, not very long, and then closed and went to the West Coast. We did the Amundsen Theater in Los Angeles and the Current Theater in San Francisco. So we all had some more time to play together because that cast is, we're really like a family. It was great. That was a great experience.
Now, I'm a little curious also, unlike the Civil War, which was sort of a collection of songs that were pre-written and already on a CD, and the Bacharach David songbook, this was a brand new musical that was being created at the Public while you were in it. Was it the kind of thing in the first week of previews or in the rehearsal that every day you have to forget one song and learn a new one, or this was cut and this was moved around?
Yes, it was very much like that. And, we joked about it after we did the cast recording. We were like, oh my God, Janine, there's like so many outtakes. We could do a whole nother CD. You know what I mean? It was really happening like that, cutting and, whole songs were going and we were putting in new songs. I mean, it was a real road to opening.
Now, another show, this is kind of interesting because you were in a couple of shows that, hopes were high and they didn't do that well. And then there was another show where they kept the expectations kind of low. Disney had this musical. It was a cult movie. It was actually a flop movie, but became something of a cult. And they said, you know what, let's bring this to the stage and we'll run it for a couple of months. And we'll see how it goes. It was called Newsies. And yet, very different story. Tell.
It was crazy. I'll tell you, they did it at Paper Mill Playhouse, and I wasn't in that. And then they were coming to Broadway, and I got cast as Meta Larkin. They were looking for a woman who could sort of be this nurturing person to the lead character, Jack Kelly. And I got this role, and I wasn't even, I remember when they were on The View, when they were making the announcement that they were going to go to Broadway, and the boys danced, I think, Seize the Day, and then Jeremy came out and sang a little bit of Santa Fe, and I sat on my couch saying, now this is good. This is like an all-time musical. This looks like this is going to be good. And then fast forward, I'm in it. And so my agent said it's just a limited engagement. It's going to run a few months, and it'll open and close, and it'll go on the road. And I thought, oh, this is perfect. And we opened, and it was like, oh, my gosh. It was like this phenomenon. I mean, we would come out, and the kids would be screaming and lining up for autographs and selfies, and it was crazy. It was crazy, 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 and I loved every minute of it. And I say to people all the time, working that show, it was like the happiest place on earth, that theater. It was so many young people making their debuts, and it just sort of reminded me of the magic of Broadway. And so I loved going to work every single day. I loved that experience. It was great.
Oh, good. And it was also a really good show. Very enjoyable, well written, well crafted. We're talking, by the way, about Newsies, the Broadway musical, which featured Capathia Jenkins. Now here's something we talked a little bit before about a stereotype of sorts, like the big black woman who comes out and sings the gospel number and so forth. But we have, even now, there are certain expectations of roles that you will play or roles that you won't get or will never get. You were a Drama Desk nominee, unless I'm greatly mistaken, for playing the role of someone who found the role years ago, but on some level is now vilified for doing it. Of course, I'm talking about Hattie McDaniel. You did an off-Broadway piece called Understanding Mammy, the Hattie McDaniel story.
Misunderstanding Mammy.
Well, is it Misunderstanding Mammy?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, don't misunderestimate me on that. Forgive me. It's Misunderstanding Mammy, the Hattie McDaniel story. So, did you come to, how do you feel about her and what actors like her and Stephen Fetchik had to do back in the day?
Yeah, she famously said that she would rather play a maid than be one. What I feel about all of those people from back in the day is that I feel like they did what they thought they had to do. And, because they did that, I don't have to. So it really is a luxury to be able to say, oh, I would have never done that, or how could they do that, or I think you do the best you can with what you have and what's out there. So for me, I think they did the best that they could with what they had, and time goes on, and then we protest and we open our mouths and we show up, and things get better and things change. And in a lot of ways, there's still work to be done on that front. We're not Stephen Fetchik today, but we're not necessarily. It wasn't but 5 minutes ago before that we were complaining about the Oscars were too white, or there's as much as things change and grow, there is still more room to change and grow. So.
Oh, I agree. I mean, the entertainment industry, in my opinion, way too Jewish. I'm kidding, of course. Just joking here. Couple more questions for Capathia Jenkins here. And so what else did I want to ask you and talk to you about? So have you been auditioning for other Broadway or off-Broadway shows? Do workshops of things? Or are you concentrating specifically on music and concerts that you do?
Well, I have been concentrating mostly on concert work and symphony work in particular. I've been singing a lot of Ella Fitzgerald last year with her Centennial, and she loved all around the world. And so I've been, burning up the frequent flyer miles and traveling all over the world singing Ella, which I love. There are times when something, piques my curiosity, and I'll go and do a reading of something, or something like that. But I have not been focused on theater. I think that I don't say that I'll never do theater again, but it certainly has to be something that challenges me and makes me feel accomplished on the other side. So, those roles for me are few and far between. I'd like to say that I think there's a composer and a writer, writing my role right now. They're somewhere creating it. It's a role that's sort of going to bring me back to Broadway. We'll see.
So when people come to see you, though, as we said, you'll be in Pittsburgh and Seattle and a bunch of other places, and of course at Birdland from October 25th to 27th, what are they going to, will it be only Maya Angelou, or are you going to throw in some Ella and some other stuff as well?
Well, for Birdland, October 25th, 26th, 27th, all at 7 p.m., those shows are all about the new CD, Phenomenal Woman, the Maya Angelou songs. That is what those shows are. It's a celebration to release that CD, specifically on October 25th. And that's with Louis Rosen, and we are coming to Birdland with a full 6-piece band. It's so exciting, and we're playing the Birdland Theater, which is their new space downstairs. So that's all Maya Angelou songs. And then when people come to see me in Pittsburgh and Seattle and Santa Barbara and all that, those shows, Pittsburgh will be a hodgepodge of different songs. I'll be singing some songs from the theater and some songs, a patriotic song and all that. And then Seattle is all about the holidays. I'll be there in December.
Oh.
Yes, some holidays, and this will be my third or fourth time with the Seattle Symphony. I'm really excited.
Now, do I have to beg you to do one Hanukkah song? I mean, you say the holidays, but we know what that really means. We know that's going to be wonderful sight, walking winter light, and all Rudolph the goddamn reindeer. Something Jewish. One song, please.
I have to say, I do not have a Jewish song in my repertoire. I don't.
Well, there's Dreidel. That's the easy. We can do Dreidel. Adam Sandler's Here Comes Hanukkah. There's a couple. You can find one.
I'm sure we could find one.
All I'm saying is it would be nice, because I am sure a good portion of your audience is going to be of my tribe.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of missing foreskins in that concert.
Those holiday shows that they do with symphonies are so, they really are inclusive. So the orchestra will play something, or I just love singing the Jewish songs. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so those are all kinds of holiday music.
Well, that still sounds like a whole lot of fun. Last question for the delightful Capathia Jenkins. Speaking of songs, do you have one or two or three? I know it's impossible to narrow down, but all-time favorite songs, either ones that you sing or ones that you don't sing but you just love.
Oh, boy. You know what song I love? I see trees of green, red roses too. I watch them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. That's one of my favorites.
Wow, what a wonderful world it is where we can be serenaded by Capathia Jenkins. And you can get like an hour and a half of that if you go, well, I mean, it won't be that song because she'll be doing Maya Angelou stuff, but it's at Birdland on West 44th Street, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, October 25th through the 27th. Louis Rosen, we can't leave him out because he's Jewish. He will be there also on the piano. They'll be doing with a 6-piece band, Phenomenal Woman, the Maya Angelou songs. Check her website, also CapathiaJenkins.com, for where she will be appearing and all her other musical releases. It just remains for me to say what a delight it has been to have you in the Daverhood, Capathia, and shalom to you.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Saul Solomon. I just absolutely adored speaking with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, too, and shalom.
The hell did they name it? The Great White Way. 'Cause if you wanna hit, learn better. Big black lady, stop the show. Can I sing something from Tosca?
Oh, you can sing something from anything, Capathia Jenkins. Thank you so much for being with us in the Daverhood on this Saturday. It is October 20th, 2018. I am Dave Lefkowitz, and you are listening to and watching the Dave's Gone By Facebookio program of the stream. We've been doing this since October of 2002, still going strong. This is our 671st episode of the program. Back when we started, they were an hour long. We still did a lot of eclectic stuff, but now, oh my gosh, how cool to have Rabbi Saul and Capathia Jenkins, to do Greeley Crimes and Old Times, to do Potato News, to go inside Broadway, and then do all the other cool stuff that we're still going to be doing for the rest of the program. We have a Saturday Segue of songs in the news, so that will be coming to, and of course we go back to, yes indeed, My Sheriff goes over weather and farm safety in our Storytime segment. And this will be the exciting and thrilling conclusion, by the way, of this book. We also have friends of the Daverhood to talk about, and Dave's Big Dick Dictionary, where I'll be dealing with the word temporary. Temporary will be the word that I've got to think about. So all of that coming up. But before then, since we've been doing theater, and since we're talking to Capathia Jenkins, and we did our Inside Broadway segment, there is a cultural aspect to this show, high culture and low. So here's sort of a mix. This kind of goes in between because it's our poetry segment. Every week we do a Colorado Limerick of the Damned, and this is where just out of the blue, a couple of months ago, it occurred to me to start writing these little limerick poems, these 5-line poems about the various towns and cities and townships in Colorado. And we call it the Colorado Limerick of the Damned.
A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 will end with words that rhyme. And likewise, verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick.
Yes, indeed. We are Rocky Mountain High here in Dave's Gone By because, of course, we emerge from northern Colorado in Greeley, Colorado. And it occurred to me, well, why not celebrate Colorado in verse with poetry? And a weekly limerick where we take a town in Colorado. And this particular week, we are doing Centennial, Colorado. Centennial, Colorado. Now, this is the amazing and weird thing. It feels like it's been around forever. I mean, James Michener, his book about Colorado was called Centennial. But honestly, there wasn't a place officially called Centennial until they incorporated in 2001. It's not even 20 years old. It's a city in Arapahoe County, about 20 minutes south of Denver. It's got more than 100,000 people in it, and the name does not honor the Michener book. It actually honors Colorado becoming the 38th state in 1876, 100 years after the Declaration of Independence was signed. So that's kind of cool. Centennial has the Cherry Creek State Park. It's got its own airport. It is also the international headquarters for Gamma Phi Beta sorority. So, you know, I'm heading over there pretty soon. But anyway, we have a poem for you. Now, I know this is Sweet Little Poetry Corner, and we do have our Storytime segment coming up, but you might want to hustle the children out the door, because remember that limericks very often, they go to a more dark and risque place. Certainly mine do. So just FYI, give your kids a sandwich, maybe give them a little wine to put them to sleep for a minute or two, as we do our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, all about Centennial. Don't pity that pervy millennial who's now doing time in Centennial, 'cause he stuck his noodle into his pet poodle and sodomized his cocker spaniel. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is our Colorado Limerick of the day and of the damned. On the Dave's Gone By Facebook program of the stream, live with you here on this October 20th, 2018, our 671st show. We're calling it Full Capathity in honor of our brand new friend of the Daverhood, Capathia Jenkins. And by the way, welcome to Mark and to Steve and Eileen and someone named Joyce. Someone named Joyce is reminding me that the dictionary word of the day is temporary. Temporary. Also, my Aunt Bonnie. Hi, Aunt Bonnie. And Carl. Carl, who was on this program a few weeks ago talking about helping to write a screenplay of a movie you might have heard of called Jaws. So, Carl, welcome back to the Daverhood. It is now time to delve into the lexicon, as it were, where we get, you can bring the kids back in the room again. But here's the deal. Early in the show, my wife, at random, goes into this book, puts her finger down on a word, and then it is my job later on in the show to talk for 5, maybe 10 minutes at most, with whatever is off the top of my head about that word. An anecdote, a story, a memory, a joke, a thought, whatever comes to me about that word. We call that segment Dave's Big Dictionary. Extra, tell all about it. It's Dave's Big Dictionary. I love how I tell you everything about the segment and what it is, and then I end up playing the intro to the segment, which just reiterates what it is and tells you about it over again. But anyway, temporary is the word. So here's the deal. This is from the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, the new edition, or at least it was a couple of years ago. The word temporary, according to Webster's, the denotation of the word, if I can just find it, and if I would just bring my glasses to the station. Here we go. Lasting for a time only, transitory. Synonyms include transient, ephemeral, momentary, impermanent, temporary. There you go. Okay. So, and this is kind of cool. I actually have stuff to talk about this word. Last few weeks, I've been just pulling things out of air, but I actually have to winnow down all the things that I would say about the word temporary to me. I mean, first things that come through my head, almost randomly, the Lou Reed song, Temporary Thing. It's just a temporary thing. Or the one that really hit me immediately is the great song that ends the Broadway, well, the off-Broadway, then back to off-Broadway show Avenue Q. And their final number is It's Only for Now. You know, when they said, George Bush, it's only for now. This is only, so everything you think about, or everything that you're dealing with, all the troubles and the issues and the horrors and the sorrows, it's only for now. And you really don't realize that until you get older. That's part of the point of Avenue Q, is you've got people who are just out of college, struggling terribly with finances and with their lives and with romantic issues and things, because they're young still, most of them. And they haven't really learned yet. And they start to learn during the show that this big honking thing you're dealing with is generally, only for now. And you will get over it. And you can tell that to a 10-year-old. You can tell that to a 20-year-old. But everything at that age, and I'll vouch for this, or the way I used to feel, was like, oh my God, you know, and I would get tremendously worked up and scared about things, or nervous or angry about things. And God knows I still do. But what's kind of cool, and what has happened over the past few years, now that I'm in my 50s, is, you know, I'll teach a class and something will go wrong. I'll respond, you know, in the wrong way to a student, or a joke will bomb, or a student gets, you know, mad about something, or I can't answer a question properly. You have these high moments when you teach a class, and then you get the low moment. You get the moment where it's like, oh, I wish I could take that moment back, or boy, that class, they just were so bored today. They're barely even listening to me. Everybody who's a professor, everybody's a teacher is watching this, kind of knows that feeling, and that you can have peaks and valleys within a 60-minute, within a 75-minute class, just as actors will have in one-person shows, just as people doing a concert, when you get on stage with a guitar and you know you've got them for that song and then you've lost them for the next one. But this idea of, you know what, it's only for now. And the ability, and it has taken me 5 decades to do this, the ability to come home from something bad that happened, or I mean, not really bad, but you know, and even beside a classroom situation, come home from just something that's annoying, something that's irritating, something that I'm worried about, and at that moment, be able to tell myself, you know what, in 3 or 4 more days, this won't be giving you heart palpitations. This won't make you upset. You'll be in the middle of the day and might remember it for a moment, but there's no PTSD involved, right? And there have been traumas in my life and moments in my life when there was PTSD involved, and I still think about them and go back to that one place and that one moment of these things that happened, you know, and they're there. But it's still, even then, to be able to tell yourself in the thick of it, you know what, right now I'm upset about this, but I need 2 nights of a decent night's sleep, and it's just going to be, won't even think about it. Won't even deal with it. It'll just be, oh, did that happen? Oh, yeah, how am I dealing with it? Oh, I've dealt with it. We're fine. No problem whatsoever. In the moment, you get defensive, you get enraged, you get angry, you want to take a machete and start hacking at everything. But, and I still do get that way in the moment. But I like to think that I'm at a point where somewhere a few minutes later, even though I'm still in the thick of it, I'm still in the anger and defense of it and the fear of whatever it is, I can say to myself, a week from now, A year from now, this won't even, someone could remind me of it, I won't even remember it. That is a very good, lucky skill to develop, and I wish I'd had it in my 20s and 30s, you can't, I guess, have it when you're in your teens or 20s, because when you're at that age, everything has to matter. It's why people have that energy, that creative spark at that age, because they think that the little 4-minute movie that they make, the song that they write, the play that they go and do, the sculpture that they make could potentially change the world, could, but make them famous, make them a lot of money, get them known and acclaimed. And it isn't until 30, 40 years later that, of course, you realize 90% of the time, the thing you don't want to admit, 99% of the time is, well, you'll do it, and a couple of people will like it and applaud, and your parents will pat you on the head, and your friends will think it's okay, and a few people will go, yeah, what do you do next? And then it's really, really over. That has, in a negative way, that has been an impediment. Wow, I can't talk today. An impediment to me in going back and doing more creative work in theater and stuff, not just revising work that I'm doing, but new work, or going back, putting on another show again, having gone through 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, a marvelous experience of doing theater, of putting shows on, of getting really, really fine reviews, of getting audiences who love my pieces, some audiences who hate it, and some people who are bored, but for the most part, really, really strong, positive, wonderful feedback, and having some people actually pay to see my work, but not enough. And not, coming through that big, draining experience that has cost thousands of hours of time and energy of my life, and nothing really coming from it. Coming back from New York after doing an acclaimed, award-winning show, and then realizing it's not touring, right? It's not going to Broadway or off-Broadway. Here I am, back in this office at the university, teaching adjunct English for shit money in northern Colorado. And there's an impetus in me that has been snuffed out a bit and tamped down, and say, oh, I can do this again. I'm probably going to go back to New York next year for a while and have the time and be in the location where I can take another shot and do it again and bring the people. And half the people who will come will be the people who already saw it once and are supporting me just with their presence and their good wishes, and wondering, is it Don Quixote tilting at windmills? Is it the person who does the same thing over again and again, expecting a different outcome, which is the true definition of an idiot, right? So there is that negative sense of, I did this, I gave portions of my soul to do this, and some good things came of it, but nothing major came of it. And now, do I go through it again just to go on the same merry-go-round over and over again? In my 20s, I'd be like, yeah, bring it on. What's my next thing? Gotta do it. That'll build on this, and this will build on that. Now then you're in your 40s and your 50s, and it's not like I've run out of energy. It's not like I need an oxygen tank if I'm going to stand on stage for 90 minutes, but just the preparational energy for all of that. I don't know. I'm thinking on it. I'm cogitating and potentially planning, and I will let you know. But for now, that is my thought on the word temporary, things being temporary in Dave's big dictionary. Well, we are watching and seeing and doing Dave's Gone By here in the Daverhood. I'm Dave Lefkowitz. Dave'sGoneBy.com is the place to find out all the information about the program. It's also the place to hear all our archives going back to the very first episode 16 years ago. It's up there, as are bunches of songs, bunches of shows that we have done ever since that first one. You want to know what the program was like back in 2004, let's say, when we were 90 minutes long, Sunday nights at 11. You want to know what it was like when I was co-hosting the show with my good friend Jeff Goodman out on Long Island, right? You want to know what the guests we had on a decade ago or 5 years ago. It's all there in davesgoneby.com. Remember, you can email me at davesgoneby@aol.com. My Twitter feed is RadioDave2, RadioDave the number 2. And what else do you need to know? And of course, always feel free to message me here on Facebook, whether during the show. Well, I'm a little disappointed that people haven't really been sending me comments today, even though we've had a lot of people tune in and join in and are watching the show. And we thank them, of course, for being here with us this Saturday and every Saturday, 9 to noonish or thereabouts Mountain Time. It is 11:30 Mountain Time in the morning here in the Daverhood. We've got a Saturday segue of songs in the news coming up. And we also have, what else do we, we've got story time. Oh my. But let's do the Friends of the Daverhood first, since we're talking about the archives. Let's get classical. So I mentioned all the fabulous and wonderful people who've appeared on the show and that you can go listen to in our archives. Among them, starting tomorrow, will be Capathia Jenkins, who just joined us on the show today. Tomorrow we'll have the archives up and you can listen again or tell your friends, hey, did you miss Capathia Jenkins on Dave's Gone By? Check it out. She's at davesgoneby.com. So she's a friend of the Daverhood. Of course, Rabbi Saul, who was with us on our very first show, he's a friend too. We keep tabs on our friends because let's say they appeared on the show 8 years ago. Since then, they're in other shows. They're releasing other albums. They're writing more books. We let you know what they're up to. For example, tonight at 8:30 p.m., Amy Coleman is part of the Motzei Shabbos Cabaret. Oh, no. The Motzei Shabbos Cabaret at New Yiddish Rep in the Kamer Theater on West 39th Street. And this is kind of really cool and interesting. 2 Jewish things in a row. If you happen to be in Florida this afternoon, go see Avi Hoffman and his mother, Miriam Hoffman. They're doing a multimedia presentation and book signing of her book, A Breed Apart, about her young years as a refugee. This is free at Temple Sha'arei Shalom. Of course, they want you to buy the book, but that is at Boynton Beach, Florida, today at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. So we'll get over there now. Tomorrow, Sunday, our cabaret friend Sydney Meyer is live at Pangea. For more information, PangeaNYC.com. If you are in Chicago, today and tomorrow are your last chances to catch the solo show with music by David Cale. We're only alive for a short amount of time at the Goodman Theater. And oh my goodness, it's an Austin Pendleton alert. Remember that this is your last weekend to catch the Austin Pendleton directed revival of Tennessee Williams's play A Lovely Sunday for Crève Coeur. That is at the theater at St. Clement in off-Broadway. Among the actors, Christine Nielsen and Annette O'Toole. So check out A Lovely Sunday for Crève Coeur off-Broadway. On Monday, theater critic Linda Weiner, we were talking about Newsday before, and now they've got Barbara Schuler as their critic, but Linda Weiner was their critic for like 20 years. She will be interviewing Lois Smith, veteran actress at the New York Public Library for the Performing Arts, up on 65th and Amsterdam Avenue at 6 o'clock Monday night in New York. Also, Monday night, you can run right from there to see Barb Younger and her cabaret guest John McDaniel doing 1968 Let the Sunshine In. That is at Birdland on West 44th Street. And by the way, if you're there Monday night, stay a little bit later and catch Jim Caruso's cast party at Birdland. On Tuesday, Alice Ripley, Tony Award-winning actress, and others will sing the songs of Max Vernon at Joe's Pub. That's at 7 o'clock this Tuesday, October 23rd. And then 2 days later, oh my goodness, it's another Austin Pendleton alert, because he's doing another master class as part of the United Solo Festival on Theater Row. That's at 4 o'clock on Thursday afternoon. And then this coming Friday, there's a new Ghostlight album. Ghostlight is a record company that does theater albums. Their album is called Singing You Home, full of children's songs And among the people on there are Dana Menzel, Kristen Chenoweth, Lin-Manuel Miranda, who else? Audra McDonald, Josh Groban, Laura Benanti, and I believe I left out the person who was our guest in the Daverhood, but she's on there. And I think it's Daphne Rubin Vega. That's who I think will also be on that new Ghostlight album. And a week from today, on Saturday, let you know that Neil Berg's 50 Years of Rock and Roll, Part 2, will be at Rockland Community College in Suffern, New York. Now, also next weekend, because I won't be here, we're taking off next Saturday and Sunday. So make your plans now to catch the New York Gilbert and Sullivan Players doing Yeoman of the Guard, conducted by their artistic director, Albert Bergeret, that is at the K Playhouse. And now some things that are running for a bit longer. Through the end of the month, Mandy Patinkin in concert. Yes, go bring tomatoes to throw at him. Mandy Patinkin at the Connolly Theater now through October 28th. Also, through October 28th, and starting this or last Friday, Robert Cuccioli is playing the Dad in Fun Home at the White Plains Performing Arts Center. Remember that you have one more weekend, well, actually another week, and weekend, to catch the adaptation of Uncle Vanya by Richard Nelson. He's also directing it. That is at the Hunter Theater Project. J.O. Sanders, who tuned in just a little while ago, he is directing the show. Richard Nelson is directing it. J.O. Sanders is starring in it as Vanya. And then, this has been extended again. Desperate Measures at the York Theater. Forgive me, I'm wrong. They did extend it, and now they've cut it back. I need to revise my notes a little bit here. But the off-Broadway musical comedy that got wonderful reviews, that won the Best Off-Broadway Musical trophy from the Outer Critics Circle, Desperate Measures. They were hoping to run it through the new year, through the holidays, but it is going to be closing next weekend at the York Theater. It's got music by our friend David Friedman, and the set is by our other friend, artistic director Jim Morgan. Speaking of directors, Robert Calvin is directing My Parsifal Conductor at the Marjorie Dean Theater on 63rd Street. That is playing through early November. Playing through a little later in November, The Bench. Now, this is an off-Broadway show, a solo show that featured our friend Delinsky. He wrote and stars in it. That is now playing at the Hudson Guild Theater in Santa Monica, California, near Los Angeles. And J.O. Sanders, aforementioned, he's directing it, The Bench in California. Now, as I mentioned before, through November 10th, Stevie Holland is doing Love Linda at the Triad. And then also, if you happen to be in Colorado, Lynn Collins is directing Educating Rita at the Arvada Center. Now, through the end of the year, speaking of things that really do get extended, at the National Yiddish Theater, Fiddler on the Roof in Yiddish, featuring musical director Zalman Mlotek, not to mention the lyrics, the original English ones, were by Sheldon Harnick. Moving to Broadway, of course, Glenn Slater co-wrote School of Rock. David Yazbek did the music for the band's Visit. Irene Sankoff and David Hine wrote Come From Away. And then at the L'Enfantine Theater, LaChanze is playing one of the Donna Summers in Summer the Musical, and Daniel Breaker is still playing Aaron Burr in Hamilton at the Richard Rogers Theater, as if you could get in. Jim Caruso's Cast Party, Monday nights at Birdland. Evan Seplow is the founder and editor of the terrific New York nightlife website, StageBuddy.com. Dr. Demento still doing Dr. Demento shows and archiving all the old ones at drdemento.com. Eva Heineman hosting the theater review show High Drama on Manhattan Cable TV. Our friends Charlie Gross and Leslie Hoban Blake doing Two on the Aisle every other week on Manhattan Cable TV as well. And a shout out to our old friend Bob Cudmore doing podcasts of upstate New York history at bobcudmore.com. And those, my friends, are the friends of the Daverhood. Oh, yes, my friends. So for a moment there, I had asked you a while back when we were doing the Naughty Limerick to get the children out of the room, but they can come back now because, oh, yes, indeed, it's 20 to 12, perfect time for story time.
Tell me a story, tell me a story, tell me a story. Remember what you said. You promised me, you said you would. You gotta give in, so I'll be good. Tell me a story, then I'll go to bed.
Oh, story time it is, ladies and gentlemen, here on Dave's Gone By. You know, for weeks, we did that marvelous tale of Hansel finally being able to buy a cow for his family. And then we had, of course, we had one about a chicken. That was great. And then vegetable friends, because, of course, we do love our potatoes here. But then I had to find another book to do on story time. And I went back to the gas and service station where I got that first book about Hansel and found another book. My Deputy Friends and Me series, there's a series of these presenting My Sheriff Goes Over Weather and Farm Safety, featuring Casey the Canine, and brought to us by the Weld County Sheriff's Office, by the way. So it's the point of the book, which is a coloring book. You can see how much fun a child had for about a minute and a half coloring the book, which is all about safety. The idea is very, very nice. It's telling children, hey, if you're on a farm in a rural situation, these are things to watch out for. These are ways to stay safe and to play safe. But of course, the funny part is, the delightful part is, the book relentlessly points up the horrors and the dangers. It's almost like the prelude in Halloween, in a horror movie thing. It's like, oh, look, a happy little child on a farm, right? Yeah. And there's grain stuff, and it's like, stay away from the grain silos. Stay away from them. Stay away from ladders and be very, very careful. Oh, no, look what can happen. Weather can change, and not only can it change, it can get so horribly bad that the apocalypse, yeah, fire, flood, rain, hail, sleet, snow, snain, snoo. What I heard you should ask, what's snoo? Nothing. What's new with you? No, but behold, ooh, look, scared. This is a child's coloring book. And there's people floating dead downstream in the doghouse with a dog in it. Yeah, this is a coloring book. Thank you. And we wonder why people grow up to be afraid of policemen, because it's My Sheriff going over weather and farm safety, featuring, of course, Casey the Canine. And the wonderful thing that we also discovered last week when we started reading the book is that the facial expression on the child almost never changes. I mean, literally. Here's on page 1. There's an expression on page 2. Literally the same face on the, hey, does it stay the same on same face on the dog? The dog hardly ever changes. Look at it. It's got the mouth open. There he is again. It's like the cartoonist has 1 or 2 or 3 positions that he knows. And who is the cartoonist on this? Doesn't even say. To whom shall we give credit where credit is due? It's copyright 2015 through 17, so it's gone through a couple of printings. Doesn't really say who actually wrote it. They didn't want to take credit. Go figure. All right, now, so we went through winter storms, how dangerous they can be, the scariness. Now let's change weather, shall we? It can get really hot during the summer. Casey says we should always drink plenty of water and always wear sunscreen. So you've got, because I know I put sunscreen on our dogs all the time, and that child who was bored or scared by the middle section of the book has returned, and kindly notice that the child went through the effort of taking blue magic marker or a blue crayon, I should say, and actually doing the water sprinkles. How do I make this like that? There we go. It's very hard to do this in a mirror image, but so there's the little water sprinkler, unless that's KC actually doing his thing. SPF 50. So make sure that you wear that. And notice the bathing suit, but the child's hand motions never change. Okay, and here we go. This is beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. Help Casey find a safe place. So there's lightning, and a tornado coming. The dog is looking at it. And now, of course, the dog has to get to a safe place, the home, one presumes the farm, to avoid it. Honestly, if I were a dog facing this, I would just kind of turn my ass around and go back that way. But no, the dog has to go through a maze, horrifying, scary maze. I guess I found it right there, to get away from this scary tornado. And boy, don't you think we would have saved a lot of lives if that hurricane 2 weeks ago and that tornado, if they just had this, if they just figured out how to get through a giant corn maze to get away from the tornado, everything would have been all right. And you know, Casey is a smart dog. Somehow she speaks English, but Casey says we should always have an emergency kit ready if we need it. Well, we keep a flashlight, a battery-operated radio, water, bandages, and other safety items in our kit. Draw the items that go into an emergency kit. So here's a cool kid. You're getting a kid to draw a flashlight. Okay, I guess that's all right. Battery-operated radio, how they're going to, well, I guess it's easier than having to draw the cord. Water, they should probably set water in a bottle. That'd be, otherwise it starts spraying all over the place like here. What else? Bandages, those would be fun to draw. And other safety items, like a Jaws of Life. Perhaps the child could put right in the bottom of the box if there happens to be room. Moving on with story time, we get to play now. This is kind of fun. This is kind of a neat game. Find 5 differences in the pictures below. I still love this. When they do this in like the Sunday papers and stuff, you're going to find 5 differences between the photos. Let's see if we can do this. What has changed? Well, I noticed the KC is on the dish here. Is that, or what is that? Well, there's no logo on the bowl, and that's one. There's ants, or perhaps those are baby mollusks on the picnic blanket there that are not there. Here there's an empty jug bottle of something. Here there's got a straw in it. But then it gets to, and then there's a sunshine here, and here the sunshine has gone away because that tornado is coming. And there's always one that's really tricky and tough. There's always one that I never get. In this case, I guess it's the bathing suit. This kid has lost the stripe there. Or maybe that kid was like me in 2nd and 3rd grade. The urine that the kid is making out of fear has now drenched away the design of the bathing suit. But anyway, notice the dog still looks the exact same expression on the kid. 5 differences on the page below. How many words can you make from weather safety? I'm assuming a parent will explain to a child that it's kind of an anagram or a jumble. And I was the king of the jumbles in my elementary school. We had a math, he was our science teacher. It was pretty cool. It was Mr. Hamill in Bialik School. And on Friday afternoons, when nobody, least of all he, wanted to be there, and he'd done all this stuff for the week, he would take about a half hour, or maybe not even, and do game stuff and just brain teasers and puzzlers. And what was happening was he would do jumbles. And the problem was for him and everybody else that was my absolute. I'm pretty good in theater. I'm pretty good at writing and stuff like that. But when it comes to untangling words and doing jumbles, I was the king. So by the time people would write down all the letters, I had my hand up and had the word figured out. Like 97% of the time, I just got bored. I didn't. I was fine. But everybody else was like, oh, God, why are we doing this? It's just going to tell Dave what the word is anyway. And then he started throwing in math problems, so it became a more even thing and other people could win. But how many words can you make from weather safety? Let's see if we can find some dirty ones. Let's see. I see twat. I see teat. What else would be here? Is threat in there? Threat is there. We, W-E-E. Shat. See, this is the kind of thing I would do if I were a child. Yeast, in an infectious sort of a way. I think those will do. Certainly you can find some other words. And it's interesting, I mean, they don't tell you that there's no, they give you only 10 places for these, and they don't tell you how many letters the word should be. You could do 10 words of just 3 letters or less on this. But notice how happy the cop is. You can't see his gun, but he does have those handcuffs. So some fun with his wife at home. Let's see what's next in this marvelous book. Be sure to review what you have learned in this book with an adult you live with and go over what you should do in case of an emergency in your own home. And then draw your family in the frame. This is the next page. It is a coloring book. Draw your family in the frame. And the child who had this book, this is their rendition. Obviously, this child grew up to be Jasper Johns. And whatever this is, there's mom. Okay, she's in the yellow. There's dad. He's the blue. No, there's grandma. She's up there. She doesn't remember things so well anymore. Yeah, draw your family in the frame. I told the sheriff, thank you for teaching me ways to be safe. And I promise to use the information Casey taught me to stay safe. And should draw our names right here. I'm going to put Potato's name in the book. Okay, I'm going to draw it nice and big. So that Potato, who really does grow up on a farm, there we go, Potato, promises to stay safe. Do you, Potato? I'm here. Oh, I absolutely do. Oh, yeah. Okay. Good. Listen, I don't know why there are more pages in this book. Oh, yeah, because every child, after they finish reading the book, is going to want to go out and buy things. Safety things. For example, elevation steel. What 8-year-old won't go shopping at Elevation Steel or Warehouse Supply? There's Hugs, Not Drugs. Definitely State Farm Insurance, because what child wouldn't want to insure himself to the max for auto repair? Mile High Shooting. So when that child gets to a certain age and goes to high school, especially in certain parts of Colorado, they're going to know that at some point they might be shot by somebody. It's just a Colorado thing. What else? I thought it's like Hindenburg, but it's Hungerbird. There's a trucking company involved. Oh my, more people are paying for all this. Classic towing. So if a wheel comes off the child's trolley, you want to give them a call. The bank, in case the piggy bank breaks. What is that? What the hell is that? Dent masters for door dings, minor dents, and hail damage. Oh, that's important too. And yet there's more. Ace Hardware, AP Restoration, roofing, and Be Cool, Stay in School. It is sort of like, this is like a 15, 20-year gap of the things that a child would actually need. Brad's towing. Joyce is asking, hey, what can I buy? What can you buy? What can you buy from this marvelous thing? Look at this. Invenergy. Oh, one of those people who decides to make words where words don't exist. But notice they're in Fort Lupton. Lupton. Everybody say that with me, because that's one of my favorite words in the universe. Lupton. Lupton. Okay. Wireless communications. NOCO Credit Union. We actually use them. And automotive services of all sorts, which is a fine establishment. And yes, if you're 7 years old and you're thinking of what to do when you get older, and you've just read a book about safety and doing everything very carefully, you're going to want to get into some harsh power sports. Oh, Lordy. Or Hyundai of Greeley. Are there more? Yes, there's more. You can get a water bottle at Max's Muscle. Gee, there's more advertising in this book than book. And oh, yeah, okay. Remember, folks, this is a children's coloring book, right? There's a rainbow. There's a cute little sort of German Shepherd doggy, right? There's a soccer ball. There's games. There's snowflakes. And then on the very penultimate, well, almost penultimate page, of course, if you need bail bonds, Goodfellas bail bonds are available. Contact Miguel Guerrero on 9th Street in Greeley, Colorado. And check this out. I wonder if this cop is moonlighting. Because look at these handcuffs, right? They sort of look like Cookie Monster handcuffs, don't they? And then look what's hanging off the policeman's belt. Right there. Strangely reminiscent of of the handcuffs on the penultimate page from the bail bonds thing. Oh, fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, does it get better than Storytime on Dave's Gone By? And then, what is Colorado Crude Carrier? They get a whole full-page color ad, ladies and gentlemen. Colorado Crude Carriers, and I've heard them talk, and they really are disgusting. They've got to clean up their language. And, of course, if you're running away from home, children, and you want a nice place to stay with a pool featuring no lifeguard and matching beds if you want to bring your other kindergarten girl with you, you want to go with the Holiday Inn Express and Suites on West 29th Street. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been Storytime on Dave's Gone By. My sheriff goes over weather and farm safety, featuring Casey the Canine. Yeah. Now, if you happen to have or know where I can get more in this series of my deputy friends, I will absolutely make that another story to tell in the Daverhood. Meanwhile, I've got to debate. I've got to figure out what else we're going to do upcoming in Storytime. Now, we've already done the Bill Cosby book, Little Bill. We have The Rooster Crows. Okay. We have, we will be doing this one. I'm just not sure when, but Feeding the Otters, Unavoidable. And don't forget, we have the book about the kid who, in a King Midas kind of a way, touches things and they turn into chocolate. And we also have Rabbi Saul Solomon is kind of interested in this book. Dreams, A Golden Country, The Diary of Sephora Feldman, a Jewish immigrant girl. But, my darling and adorable wife, Joyce, just wrote in to say that she learned a lot from weather and farm safety. So, she doesn't listen to me. We've been married so long. I say things, one thing goes out one ear, in one ear and out the other. So if I tell Joyce to stay away from grain silos, she still climbs up. She still goes to scoop out the grain. She doesn't wear the helmet. Will you do it now, hon? Will you please be careful of those grain silos? I'm saying it out of love. I hope that's what you will do. I love doing this program. It's called the Dave's Gone By Facebookio program of the stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz, and all of you watching and writing in and giving me thumbs up and emojis at home and telling your friends and your family about the show. It is almost noon. We're about 4 minutes away here in Colorado. Are we finished? Are we done with the program? Oh, no, because we still have one more segment. It is one of my favorites. I used to like it more, quite honestly, when I could play more music before, Facebook started worrying about little things like copyright. But yeah, it's called the Saturday Segue. I think I even have a Saturday Segue intro. And it goes like this. Extra, extra, hear all about it. We provide the rhymes, you provide the reasons. It's our Saturday segue of songs in the news. Oh yeah, you do indeed, here on Dave's Gone By. So that's the point. Point is, we play part of a song, and then you hear it, and you go, why is Dave playing that this week? It's not just because I want to play a song. It's like, oh, this happened in the news. This happened in current events. So either the title of the song or the people who are singing the song or what the song is about relates directly to some big news item in the world. And so we will start with this little number, which was a number that caused all sorts of dissension between the artist and his record label, because he did a whole album of stuff like this. The disco-y, electronic-y, digitally song from Neil Young. I know it sounds absolutely nothing like Neil Young, but there was a point after a run of extraordinary albums throughout the 1970s. Early in the 80s, Neil Young, kind of like Bob Dylan did too, lost his way a bit. And also, he was dealing with one of his children who had a severe, I don't want to say what the disease is, I forget which one it was. But in order to communicate and be on that same level with the child, first of all, they were both into electric trains, so they got into that very deeply. But he also had all this digital stuff, and he was trying to communicate in digital ways, and that influenced his music, at least for one album called Trans, if anybody remembers it. It's not, it's got some catchy stuff on it, and some of it's pretty good, but it's, no. And, and it started kind of a downslide of a lot of Neil Young albums of the period before he found rock and roll again. But that was a song called Computer Age from the Trans album. Why would I be playing that from 1982? Well, we have to say farewell to Paul Allen, age 65. He died of cancer this past week. Paul Allen and his high school friend started a little company in 1975, and they called it Microsoft. Allen spotted an article about a company, or about a computer, in Popular Electronics magazine. He got excited about this idea of computers, and he ran to show his friend, Bill Gates, and Bill Gates ended up dropping out of Harvard to work on building personal computers. Now, Allen ended up getting Hodgkin's lymphoma in 1983 and had to leave the company, but by then it was already huge. He became a billionaire, started his own company called Vulcan Inc., and invested in cable companies and DreamWorks. So by 35, he was already just in funny money territory. He owned the Portland Trail Blazers, also the Seattle Seahawks. He gave more than $2 billion just to charity. Amazing. I mean, we'll be talking about a huge sum of money in a few minutes, but got to say farewell, of course, to a man who literally, along with, we all know Bill Gates. We've forgotten, sadly, unfortunately, about a guy who was about as important, Paul Allen. So we thank him, of course, and Steve Jobs for the way the world is now. And that happened in just over the past 30 years. It's rather extraordinary, or 35, 40 years now. But it was, people had computers in their homes by the mid to late 1980s. It was just the way, and it's never stopped. So a big farewell to him, which is why we played Neil Young's Computer Age. Now we have something not nearly as tragic, but also just a little bit sad. It's another kind of farewell.
Now it's time for me to tell you what Oscar the Grouch loves, the thing that Grouches love best of all. Oh, I love trash. Anything dirty or dingy or dusty. Anything ragged or rotten or rusty. Yes, I love trash. If you really want to see something trashy, look at this.
Oh, I loved that song growing up. I was already too old to love a song like that, but I was a Sesame Street fanatic. And of course, everybody else, they loved, well, I love Cookie Monster too, but they loved Bert and Ernie and Grover. And then, of course, fucking Elmo came along. But no, my man, my Muppet was Oscar the Grouch. Oscar was the dude. Because on every other children's show, that you put on a Saturday morning, all the cartoons, you had villains, you had Snidely Whiplash, and you had people trying to kill Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck and stuff, but on the children's TV shows, everybody was nice, everybody was happy and kind and helpful and demonstrating things, and that was fine. Patchwork Family and pick another show, Captain Kangaroo. And so people would make mistakes, and they'd be occasionally in a bad-ish mood, but then everybody'd be bright and sunny by the end of it. And Sesame Street thought, hey, let's have a character who is relentlessly angry, mean, insulting, sarcastic, and hates everything that everybody else loves. Have you any idea how appealing that is to a person like me and especially a person like me when I was 6, 7, 8, 10, 15 years old, because Sesame Street started in 1969 when I was 5 years old. And I became addicted, everybody became addicted to Sesame Street. It was the greatest thing on television. But this idea that they could have a recurring, regular character who wasn't sweet and sunny, who wasn't always sensible, who said, I look at this and I go, oh, that'd look good in a trash can. It was a revelation. It was wonderful. And I sat through so many hours of Sesame Street just to get to the Oscar Grouch stories, to get to his take on things. And I would imitate him. And I used to have an Oscar the Grouch hand puppet. And I think I had a Cookie Monster too, but I didn't have the other puppets. But when they came out with an Oscar the Grouch, I had it. I think I still have it in the drawer somewhere. I used to do, when I was a kid, it was my first newspaper. Before I did a school newspaper, before I was editing the junior high school newspaper, before I occasionally wrote for a high school paper, and then had journals that I wrote for and published and co-published. I had something called a Daily Grouch magazine, which actually came out once a week. But, I would do cartoons and drawings and poems and stories of sick, funny things from my 7-year-old brain. And all of them were inspired by the ethos that was Oscar the Grouch, of being oppositional about everything. If something was supposed to be good, it was bad. If something was supposed to be positive, it was negative. That was the beauty of it. Well, why did I play Oscar the Grouch singing I Love Trash from that original Sesame Street album? Well, on Thursday, Carol Spinney taped his very last shows for Sesame Street. He's been on more than 4,400 episodes of the show, playing Oscar as well as Big Bird, which is a character that did not mean nearly as much to me. Big Bird, give me Ernie, give me Bert too, to an extent, give me Cookie Monster, give me the Yip Yips, oi, 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 yip, 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 oi, 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 definitely give me them. Who are the other original characters that I was kind of into? I don't want to confuse them with the Muppets who came much later on, but those folks, Grover, totally give me Grover, man. Or even that poor guy in the restaurant that Grover's always spilling things on. Him I like too, I always felt for him. But Big Bird, kind of wimpy and wishy-washy and annoying, and then with the Snuffleupagus thing. Yeah, Big Bird. But he was Big Bird too. And that became almost more of the bigger logo and bigger character for Sesame Street than Oscar ever did for most people. But Carol Spinney was doing both the mechanics of these puppets and Muppets and the voices of them for 50 years ago. Although just a couple of years ago, and they wrote this in the story of the New York Times this past week, well, he had to stop doing physically the Big Bird puppet. He would still do the voice of Big Bird, but he was getting dizzy and having balance issues. So he couldn't actually, he's 83 years old. He couldn't really work all that anymore, but fine. He was still the voice, and he's still been Bird and Oscar all this time up until this week. Because he's getting older. It's time. He's 83. In 1969, Carol Spinney was at a Puppeteers Festival in Salt Lake City, Utah, when a hippie-ish dude caught his act. And his act, by the way, was not going all that well. It started okay, and then things started breaking and tearing and going wrong, but he still got through it. And then this guy in the audience, this bearded hippie guy, said, you know what? I like what you're trying to do up there. That man was Jim Henson. And literally history was made from that point on. And as much as I personally, as I've mentioned, just love to this day Oscar the Grouch, and is one of the most important, iconic, I love Charlie Chaplin, right? I loved Woody Allen movies when I was growing up. These were people that I looked towards, Dr. Demento, all the Monty Python people. These were huge for me in developing my personality, in developing my cultural and comedy tastes. But the first one was Oscar. And yet, for Carol Spinney, it was Big Bird. Spinney loved the joyousness of Big Bird. Now, the initial Big Bird was conceived by Jim Henson as a local yokel countryish character who's like a dumb yuck and gets things wrong, is kind of goofy and stupid. Carol Spinney had the idea of, no, we can make him naive and childlike. He is the child on the show, even though sometimes they actually have human children on Sesame Street. But he is the window for children looking into this world that is made up of either grown-ups, like Gordon and Susan and Mr. Hooper, and these Muppets. But Big Bird is the child and all those children coming into Sesame Street and trying to understand this world, as it were. So, it's kind of neat. And again, for me, the idea of a character on a children's show who wasn't a bad guy, but was a recurring lovable character who was cranky and mean, and people loved him anyway. I think my personality would have been so different had I not fallen in love with Oscar the Grouch. So all I can say is thank you, Carol Spinney. I hope you have many, many more years on this planet. But of course, it begs us to say farewell to you and your incredible work on Sesame Street. Well, let's move on to our next song in our Saturday Segue of tunes. You know this number. This is a slightly different version of it. On the radio, indeed. That is one of the many, many takes that Van Morrison did for his song Caravan that wound up on Moondance when they released Moondance, or re-released it a couple of years ago as a box set with all these outtakes and stuff. You can hear a bunch of ways he approached that song, Into the Mystic and other tunes that he did. But anyway, Caravan, take 4 from Moondance. Why would we play Caravan? Well, isn't it funny? Isn't it weird that for weeks and weeks, we had all these stories in the news. We had the weather stories, the hurricane tornado stories, right? We had stories coming out of other countries. We had, and American stories involving the economy. And weirdly enough, just a couple of days ago, suddenly immigration is back front and center. Could it possibly be because the midterms are only 3 weeks away? Your guess is as good as mine, but Fox News woke up again and was, oh my God. And literally, I turn on Fox News after the weekend, and after a weekend when, the Saudi Arabia thing is happening and we're trying to figure out what that's all about. And what's there? Suddenly they're at an ice raid near a border of Mexico and the United States. And they're so excited. Oh, they're catching these immigrants. They're catching these people who want to come into America. And that's what Trump is running on. And we're closing the borders and we'll threaten countries that don't help us. It's like, how did it suddenly ramp up again? What did somebody on the right wing wake up 3 days ago and say, oh, we haven't made immigration the breaking news story for a few weeks. We better do that again. I don't get it. And then, of course, there's this story of the caravan, of a caravan coming of Central American migrants that were trying to reach the United States, were stopped in Mexico. They turned around and now they're trying to break into the border between Mexico and Guatemala. And, I am not one of these people on the far left wing who says we don't need ICE, we don't need border patrols, we don't have to vet the people who are coming in, making sure that they don't have bad intentions toward America. I do believe in processing and just knowing who's coming into this country and what they're doing and what they want, But beyond that, again, and I've said this so many times, if you think your ancestors came here completely on the up and up and legally, if you think that back in the late 1800s, the 1900s, I don't care if you're Jewish coming from Russia and Eastern Europe, or you're one of the German immigrants or the Italian immigrants or the Irish who came here, stuff was done. There were bribes taken. There were things that were on the up and up, and there were things that are illegal. And they came here, and they suffered, and they struggled, and they lived in ghettos and got whooping cough on the passed Spanish flu around amongst each other, and they sold things on push carts on the street, and they raised the children that they could, and gave the children a better life. The children went up to go to school. Their kids went up to be the first generation in college. And those are people who are running stores, who are making movies, who are driving taxis, who are working in groceries, who are creating cures for diseases, okay? So when we look at these folks who are doing a criminal activity such as it is to come into the United States, 90-something% of them, they will end up doing good things here, even if they're just opening a restaurant, right? And you never know. This next one could cure cancer, or their kid could grow up and figure out some great mathematical formula or find a new planet, for sure. Absolutely. But even if they just open a great place to eat for a few years, that's something we didn't have before they came here, right? And are they taking jobs from us? Yes and no. With 3.7% unemployment, we kind of need them. Supposedly. I mean, I can't get another fucking job, but people who are younger than I am in coming out of high school and college, apparently there's tons of jobs open, to so many jobs that we probably still need the migrants and the illegals to come in and do the jobs that they wouldn't want to do, even, well, for $9 an hour, let alone 15 or 20. So, I don't know. There's a caravan, and meanwhile, Donald Trump is making immigration the number one bugaboo. It's like, we don't want them from Mexico. We're going to build a goddamned wall. Here's what I can't mention the next song because it already brings up what the next song is about. So I'll get to it. But yes, there's that caravan where people were just swarming into and breaking down the border of Guatemala. I wish them well. I think it will be a shame that some of them didn't make it here, because they probably could have done some pretty good things. Anyway, let's get on to our next song in our Saturday segue of songs in the news. I've got to start this one here. Remember, the point is you're not just listening to the song, but you're going to ask yourselves, what is it about the song? Why is Dave playing it? How is it relevant right now, this weekend, to stuff that's been going on in the news and in the world? From his greatest hits collection, Alice Cooper there. Alice Cooper with a song called $1 Billion Babies. Why would I be playing $1 Billion Babies on Dave's Gone By this afternoon? Well, we all want to be $1 billion babies. Oh my God. Powerball. That was up to $430 million as of last night. And then the Mega Millions. Everybody bought tickets. I didn't have a chance, but people everywhere bought tickets this week because the jackpot has literally gone up to $1 billion with a B dollars. And not only that, I read this morning that nobody won, so it is now up to $1.5 billion jackpot for Mega Millions. The 1 billion mark was the second largest in Mega history. I wonder if now it is the largest ever. Just to, there was one article that I read that wanted to put sort of an equivalency factor on all this. Forgetting that it went up to $1.5 billion today, just when it was $1 billion, the winner would be worth twice of what Taylor Swift is worth. The odds of winning 1 in hundreds of millions. So that's the problem, because you figure, let me take a shot. Let me buy a couple of tickets. Maybe, you really have only A 1 in 300 million chance. So to put that into perspective, it's like, hey, get this shot, get this flu shot, inject your child with mumps, rubella, etc. There is this 1 in 10 million shot that your child could get autism or could have an ab reaction and die from this shot. But 9 million is not. Well, meanwhile, if you multiply that exponentially, that is your shot at actually winning the Mega Millions and Powerball thing. Now, it says that the Powerball drawings last night and Mega is today, so I don't know how the Mega Millions thing will already be known that nobody won the Mega Millions, but that's what I read. If I'm wrong, go Google and find for yourselves. And now the last song in our Dave's Gone By Saturday Segue for this Saturday, October 20th, 2008. One of the cool things about going back into Dave's Gone By episodes from 2 and 3 and 5 and 7 years ago is that we used to do a segment called Bob Dylan, Sooner and Later, where we would play old Bob Dylan songs from his career and talk about Bob Dylan, because I'm the hugest Dylan fan. Probably not the hugest, but a big one. And when we had to stop doing that segment just because of the copyright issue. But it's good to play some Bob Dylan again. Not good the reason that we would play a song from his Shot of Love album called Dead Man, Dead Man. Who's a dead man? Well, that Khashoggi guy. He, at least the Saudi government, the princes, that royal family, they're admitting he's dead. They're not really saying how. First, they were kind of intimating it was an accident. It was an oops. He went into the embassy to get a marriage license. And, oh, somebody could have been mopping with soap. And, oh, he may have fallen and cracked his head open. It could have happened. Somebody left a microscopic, terrible germ on the table where he was drinking something, and the germ leapt into his coffee cup, and he drank the germ, and wouldn't you know, he collapsed and died, and oh my God. At some point, this man, this journalist, and this guy who had been living for a while in the United States, this guy goes into the Saudi Arabian embassy in Turkey, in Istanbul, comes in there for a marriage license. His fiance is waiting outside on the telephone, just hanging there waiting for him, and he never comes out. And I guess it's been 3 weeks, and he never came up. Where did he go? Did he bang? Did he do a Copperfield? No. The feeling is that he's murdered. And even though I've never heard this, but I assume some people have, at least in the higher levels of government, the man wisely had his iWatch on while he was in the embassy. So he was uploading audio and at times even video of what was going on with him. And what was going on was he was questioned, he was interrogated, he was tortured, and apparently dismembered. I don't know how they would know this from a thing or an audio. I guess after they cut off his arm, they held the arm up and showed the rest of him hacked into bits. But, and then when they tried to bash the watch and get rid of the watch, it was too late because it was live uploading and the fiance had it on her phone. So first of all, I don't know if she was watching and listening to this, why she didn't run and get the... What is the story on this? Nobody is still talking. All the Saudis have said this week is that, yeah, he's dead. Told this to Donald Trump. And Trump was saying days ago, he's probably dead. But hey, we have to sell all these arms to Saudi Arabia. They're our friends. They're the good guys. Why our good guys would need $500 million, which, by the way, is only half of a lottery ticket win now. But why Saudi, the House of Saud, would need $500 million of American weapons. What are they doing with that? Fuck do they need that kind of weaponry for? Who's attacking them? I mean, or are they going to attack us at some point? Why do we, and I think I talked about this last week, why do we have such good, positive, loving feelings about Saudi Arabia? And everybody, but Lebanon, no. Syria, certainly not. Iraq, Iran, Qatar, what are some of the other horrible countries over there? Well, Afghanistan for sure, if we move past the Arab world. So, what are we getting out of it so much that we look the other way, that most of, I think, the terrorist bombers on 9/11 were Saudi, right? What are we getting out of them? It's just, do they have so much money? And are they such a good partner in some ways of making rich people richer in this country that we treat them differently and with kid gloves in a way that we don't treat any other Arab country? I don't see it. I don't get it. I certainly don't like it. And now I only have to credit at least Trump and Pompeo and even the right-wingish conservative media for not ignoring the story, for not just letting the story go. Because, every country does shit that has murders, has shaky, weird things going on, that we look the other way because there's 20 million people in a country and 3 million people do something bad. You don't hold it against everybody there. So there is that, but at least, and I'm glad to say that they're not letting the story go. They're not just sort of hush on there. Oh, let's talk about the wonderful American economy instead. Let's talk about immigration only instead. They're hanging on to this. They're saying something terrible was done to a person who was a journalist and who was living in America. Now, of course, Donald Trump is fine with socking a journalist in the jaw or taking him down a bit, even in a comical way. But torturing and dismembering a journalist, it's a little, you can knock out a tooth or two, you can kick a journalist in the balls, fine, but taking a hacksaw to their limbs, that's crossing a line. I'm sorry, folks. That's just, So that is why we played Dead Man by Bob Dylan from his Shot of Love album, because there's a dead man. His name was Khashoggi, and maybe at some point we'll find out how and why he died and who did it. Then again, maybe someday we'll find the flight from Malaysia. We'll see. This has been Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz, live on this Saturday, October 20th, 2018, our 671st episode of the program. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you've missed part of it, because we've been here for 3.5 hours, or you want to share parts of it with other people, please remember to go to our website, davesgoneby.com, davesgoneby.com. That is where we post all the archives. So within about 24 hours, we'll have this show up. Now, hopefully we'll have the video, which unfortunately was split into 2 videos because of technical difficulties with Facebook earlier, but we'll have them up there. We'll also, of course, have the audio archives. And these are pretty cool because we'll add in some more music. It'll be a bit higher quality sound. And you can, of course, take that and listen to it on your iPod or any device, or just stream it right on your computer. So today's show will be up in several hours. And then every show just about that we've ever done, going back 16 years, is right there for you. And, we had this wonderful interview with Capathia Jenkins earlier in the program. If you just want to hear that, you can hear we've abstracted that interview and all the other interviews that we do into a separate file, into a separate archive, and you can listen to just that if you want to. It's all there at davesgoneby.com. So do give that a look and share it with your friends and family. And by all means, please let your Facebook friends know that they can watch this show on Saturday mornings live here on Facebook, or see the video, because the video stays on here, which is wonderful. So you can see that later on as well. Got to do some big thank yous. Thank you so much to Capathia Jenkins for being with us in the Daverhood. Go see her. She is at Birdland this week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, playing with Louis Rosen, her collaborator, co-songwriter for Phenomenal Woman, the Maya Angelou songs. It's a new album of theirs, and it's also the songs that they will be singing at Birdland on West 44th Street by 8th Avenue towards the end of this week. For more information, please visit CapathiaJenkins.com. CapathiaJenkins.com. We thank her very, very much for the fun she had in the Daverhood with our own beloved Rabbi Saul Solomon. Thank you also to Gwendolyn Quinn, her public relations firm, for setting up that interview with Capathia. Thank you very, very much, of course, to my darling and adorable wife, Joyce, for joining us for the first hour in the Daverhood. Love you, hon, and love that you also, even when you're away from me, you listen to the show, so that's huge, too. Thank you to Rabbi Saul Solomon for being part of the show today, and he has been with us since our very first episode. You want to know more about him? You want to hear the funny things that he's done? Go to his website, shalomdammit.com. Shalom, D-A-M-M-I-T, shalomdammit.com, because he has done rabbinical reflections, which are these comic sermons and essays that he does, and you can read them and hear them as well. Plus, he's done these hilarious TV shows for Long Island cable TV many years ago called Shalom Dammit, Rabbi Saul Solomon's Peace, Love, and Acid Reflux Hour, which are only a half hour. They're great. Check them out. They're at shalomdammit.com. And his stage show, the show that I directed, one of the shows that I was talking about when I was talking about temporary in Dave's Big Dictionary. We recorded that. We recorded it at the Richmond Shepherd Theater about 7 or 8 years ago. The full long version, before it was even cut down to a one-act. It's, I think, marvelous. Check it out. The whole video is there at shalomdammit.com for Rabbi Saul Solomon. We thank him so much. So I think that, that about does it. I do want to let you know that we will be off next week. I know. This is why you have to go to the archives to get your Dave's Gone By fix. But yeah, I will be away. I will be in New York seeing theater. Yay! And doing other New Yorky things and seeing some family and hopefully some friends too. So yeah, I can't do a live Dave's Gone By next Saturday, but I'll come back from New York with stories. I'll come back with theater reviews for you. I mean, hopefully, assuming, I get there, the plane doesn't crash, and I get to see these shows, including the revival of Kenneth Lonergan's The Waverly Gallery, and I'll be going to see, what else am I? There's a couple that I'm hoping to see, but I haven't heard back yet. Oh, gosh, what else? Well, you just have to wait until 2 Saturdays from today to find out. But boy, oh boy, it's been great doing this show week after week here in the Daverhood, our 671st episode that we're putting to bed. Let's hear just a little bit more of Capathia Jenkins doing what she does, singing the way she sings. We thank her so much for being in the Daverhood. And hey, you know what? I'm hoping, even though I'm not even buying a ticket, I'm hoping I win the Mega Millions, or one of my family members does, and they're feeling generous. And I hope you all win. My fans in the Daverhood, my Daverhoodlums, win the Powerball or the jackpot or the Mega Millions, so that you can share the love with your old pal Dave. And as Capathia Jenkins would say, that's rich. From Newsies, the Broadway musical, here's Capathia and Gone By.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the star of our show, Miss Meta Larkin.
I'm doing all right for myself, folks. I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wise. My investments and such have all gone up so much. Seems whatever I touch starts to rise.
And that does it. So have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the great weather coming up next week. And I'll see you in 2 weeks right here in the Daverhood and Gone By.